A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
The story you're about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. An elderly woman on her way to the bank has been robbed and beaten senseless. The suspects are cruel, ruthless. Your job, get them.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild. To give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Saturday, August 9th. It was hot in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Ed Walker, captain of robbery. My name's Friday. It was 10:14 a.m. when I got to room 27A, robbery detail.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello, Joe.
Hi, Win.
How is he?
Won't know for a while.
What'd the vet say?
Thinks the dog picked up some kind of poisoned food.
Oh, it's too bad.
Sure hot. You got a penny?
Yeah. Yeah, there you are.
Thank you.
Somebody poisoned, huh?
Yeah. That's what the vet says. I never could figure why some people poison dogs.
I can understand some people not liking the animal, but I can't see why they poison food and then just toss it around wholesale loss.
You know how I feel about that dog of mine. If anything happens to him, I don't know what he'll do.
Oh, he'll be all right. Those vets can do wonders these days.
I sure hope so. They told me to check back with him about noon.
I'm about to melt in this heat.
Yeah, doesn't seem to be any air at all.
Well, tomorrow Sunday, guess I'll just lie out in the backyard.
It's going to be good to just loaf around and read the Sunday papers, huh? It's a hot shot.
I'll take it. My wife wants me to get out and get a little color. She says I'm better looking with a tan.
She ought to know.
All right. Will you get married, Joe? After so long, it gets so you believe everything they tell you.
Here's one to roll on.
Yeah?
Robbery and shooting. Victor's car was stolen. You want to get on it?
All right, let's go, Joe.
Bank job. Don't make any plans for Sunday.
10:53 a.m. Ben and I pulled up in front of the Union Trust and Savings Bank at Melrose and Logan. We made our way through the usual crowd that was milling in and around the bank. We spoke with the manager, a Mr. Bill Fore. He told us that he didn't see the actual robbery. The victim was taken in the parking lot next to the bank. Her name was Myrtle Shaw, a longtime customer of the Union Trust and Savings. Fore told us that she always did her banking at the same time each day, around 10 in the morning when the bank first opened. He said she was the proprietor of Myrtle's Cafe, 4 doors west of the bank.
Let us through, please. Sorry, let us through here.
Officer, over here.
Yes, sir.
Friday and Romero, Central Robbery. Did you answer the call?
Yes, we did. Freeman and Welsh, Unit 13R. Ambulance just left. Lincoln didn't want to go to Georgia Street. Said she wanted her own doctor.
Okay, is she inside the cafe?
Yeah.
Let's go in, Ben. Are you Freeman?
No, I'm Welsh. Freeman's inside.
See if you can clear this crowd a little, will you, Welsh?
Right.
Thank you.
All right. You've seen everything now. Now, let's move along.
Come on.
The placard is right there. There she is, over in the last booth. Freeman?
Yes, sir.
Friday and Romero, central robbery. Is this the victim?
Yes, that's right. Her name's Myrtle Shaw.
Miss Shaw?
Yes, that's right.
My name's Romero. This is Sergeant Friday. We're from Robbery Division downtown.
You men detectives?
Yes, ma'am. We'd like to ask you a few questions.
Yes, all right. I hope you can catch the men that did this.
Well, we're going to do all we can.
It's a little hard for me to talk. My face is so swollen. It hurt something terrible.
What happened?
One of them struck me,
Yes, ma'am, we know that. Do you want to tell us how it happened?
and I was on my way to the bank. I drove in the parking lot there next door.
Yeah?
I just got out of my car when these men walked over to me.
You're only 4 doors from the bank. Do you always drive such a short distance?
No. I just picked up my car from Edgar's filling station. I have it greased once a month.
I see.
Where was I?
You'd just driven into the parking lot when these men walked up to you.
Yes. Oh, yes. Well, one of them said, just hand over the money and there won't be any trouble. Another one said, this is a gun in my pocket, Grandma.
Yeah?
My head's splitting. Did someone call Dr. Van Hale?
Yes, ma'am. He's on his way.
Oh, thank you. Well, I carry my day's receipts in a cloth bank bag. I had it in my purse, and I wasn't sure if they knew I had any money.
Yeah?
I told them I didn't have any. And I was going in to draw some out, and one of the men said, look, old-timer, we don't want to get rough. Just hand it over. We know you got it.
What'd you do?
Well, I turned and started to walk away, and I saw this one man's arm flash out of his pocket, and then something hard like a rock struck me on the side of the face.
Must have slugged you with his gun.
Oh, yes, it couldn't have been his hand. I don't think he could have cut my face like this with his hand.
You should have let them take you to the emergency hospital.
No, I don't want to go in an ambulance. I want my own doctor. He'll know what to do.
The ambulance crew gave her first aid. She wouldn't let him take her.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
Miss Shaw, would you know the men if you ever saw them again?
Well, I think so, yes. One of them looked like the worst kind of a hoodlum.
When they got your money, huh?
Oh, yes. And they tell me they got away with my car, too.
How much money did you lose?
$116.23.
Do you own this cafe?
Yes, I do. It's a small place, as you can see. I do all the cooking and serving up to 11:30 in the morning. Then I have a college girl that waits on tables in the afternoon and evening.
Do you think those men have ever been in here in the cafe?
No.
Have you ever seen either of them before?
No, I never laid eyes on them before today.
How about the girl who works for you? You think she's ever seen them before?
I don't know. You can ask her. She should be here soon. What time is it now?
11:20.
Yes, she'll be along any minute. Oh, I wish there was something to stop this aching.
We know you must have a lot of pain, Miss Shaw, but we've got to ask a few more questions so we can get right on this.
Yeah, I understand. I'll tell you all I can.
Ben, do you want to get the dope on the stolen car and a description of the man? I'll call the office.
Right.
Say, is there a payphone I can use here, Miss Shaw?
Yes, right over there behind the fountain.
Thank you.
Do you need change?
Yes, ma'am, I'm afraid I do.
Well, just help yourself in the cash register there.
Thank you. I put in a dime, taking out 2 nickels.
Oh, well, now, that wasn't necessary, young man. You didn't have to tell me.
Oh, I know, but we don't like to open other people's cash registers.
You're a police officer, aren't you?
Yes, ma'am.
I trust you.
That seems to be the reason a lot of people don't. I called the office, and as fast as Ben repeated the information, I phoned it in. The detailed information was broadcast to all units. The stolen car was a 1946 green Ford sedan, license number 1X-ray 1898. All units were instructed to be on the lookout for the car, and if found abandoned, to notify robbery detail immediately and keep the car under surveillance until we arrived. I called in a description of the suspects and the fact that the money was taken in a cloth bag stamped Union Trust and Savings. Myrtle Shaw's doctor arrived, and she was ordered to bed for rest and treatment. Ben and I interrogated all the possible witnesses in the parking lot, and we found only one man who saw the actual robbery. His story compared to that of Miss Shaw's, but he could add nothing more. We talked with a young college student who worked in the restaurant. She didn't think she'd ever seen the men in question. We drove back to the city hall and went to the stats office. They made a run for us on the descriptions and M.O. that we had, and we pulled the packages of all possible suspects that the machine sorted out. We narrowed and sifted the 24 possibles down to 12. We took the mug shots out and showed them to the victim and the one witness. They could not identify any of them as the 2 men in the holdup. 2:35 p.m. Saturday. We started to canvass the neighborhood, door to door.
That takes care of Logan Street for 1 block, both sides. Want to start here on Melrose?
Okay. Let's try this drugstore.
I'm on fire. Paper says it's supposed to hit 99 today.
I believe it. Come on.
Yes, sir?
Police officers. We're looking for a couple of men. Here's the descriptions. I wonder if you'd read this and tell us if you've ever seen them.
Yes, sir. We got time to have a coat.
No, we better not. It's getting late.
No, I'm afraid I've never seen anybody who answers either one of these descriptions.
You sure?
Yeah, quite sure.
Well, thank you. I'll have to have that back.
Oh.
Let's go.
Is it just my imagination, or does it seem to be getting hotter to you?
Talking about it doesn't help.
I've tried ignoring it. That don't help neither.
Let's try this bakery.
How do you do, gentlemen?
All right, police officers. Wonder if you'd read the 2 descriptions listed here and tell us if you've ever seen either of these men.
Yes, of course. No.
Sure smells good in here, doesn't it?
No,
Yeah.
I don't seem to recall anybody that looks like this.
Anybody else in here who might have seen him?
No, I don't think so. I wait on trade.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Let's go.
That smells just like good old apple pie, doesn't it, Joe?
We're baking Danish coffee cake at the moment.
Oh.
The next place here is a plastic factory.
Yeah, looks like they're closed. Half-day Saturday, yes.
Somebody in there cleaning up. Guess he didn't hear me.
Oh, here it comes.
Yeah.
A lot of money in this plastics business.
Mm-hmm. Really came into its own during the war, didn't it?
Oh, yeah.
The plant's closed Saturday afternoon.
Police officers. Wonder if you'd look this paper over and tell us if you may have seen 2 men answering these descriptions.
All right. I have to put my glasses on.
Yes, sir.
There now. I don't need them for sweeping, just reading.
All right, here you are.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
What was that?
I said, what do you think? Have you seen him?
Well, I don't know.
How do you mean?
I'm not sure yet.
Hmm?
I'm not sure. I may have seen one of them.
How about the other one?
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't know about the other one.
But you do remember seeing one of them?
I might have seen both of them.
But you're not sure.
I don't know.
Well, do you want to tell us what you remember about the one you did see?
Oh, don't you want to know about the other one, too?
Well, yes, sir, we do, but I understood you to say that you didn't know about the other one.
No, I don't.
Well, you just tell us what you know, then.
Then you want me to just forget about the other fella?
No, sir, but if you don't know, it's all right.
I might know.
Yeah?
I haven't read about him yet.
Oh.
You asked me a question just as I finished reading about the first one. I was just starting on the second one at that time.
Yes, sir, sorry.
What was that you asked me?
It wasn't important.
Then I'll read about the second one.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I seen them 2 or 3 days ago, both of them.
In this neighborhood?
Yes, sir, right around back in the parking lot.
They work here?
No, sir, they don't. Seems to me I've seen them a couple of times.
What were they doing?
I don't recall. I just remember I've seen them.
You sure?
Yes, I'm positive. One of them had on a brown suit, the other gray, just like it says here. The descriptions fit all right.
You have any idea where these men might be now?
No, sir.
We're investigating a robbery. We want these men for questioning.
I wish I could help you more. I do know I've seen them, but that's about all. I don't know their names.
All right, sir. What's your name?
Seth Williamson.
We'll leave you one of our cards, Mr. Williamson. If you see him again, appreciate you letting us know.
Yes, sir. Sure will.
Let's go, then.
Wish we had something more definite to go on. If we just had a picture of the guys.
Yeah, it'd help.
There's a vacant lot in the corner. Finishes out this block.
All right. Let's double back on the other side of the street.
Right. Sure hot.
4:30 p.m. We continued knocking on doors, checking every place that was still open or showed any activity Saturday afternoon. We talked with hotel managers, janitors, and cleanup men at the different factories or business establishments. We checked grocery stores, private homes, everywhere that we could find anybody to show the descriptions to. By 6:15 p.m., the only person who showed any sign of recognition of the 2 hold-up men was still Seth Williamson, the janitor at the plastics plant. Before we took time out for a sandwich and a cup of coffee, we drove back to the city hall to check the office.
Hi, Friday.
What do you say, Marty?
A couple messages for you here.
Thanks.
What's the matter with you, Romero?
I'm dehydrated. That sun almost fried me.
Oh, Joe, that one call asked me your mother. Said tell you a dog's out of danger.
Oh, that's fine. Called in around 2, huh?
Yeah. That other one's from some guy who says he wants to talk to you right away. Been calling in since about 3 this afternoon.
Seth Williamson, eh? Called 4 times.
Yeah. Said tell you he'd wait at that number there. They heard from you.
I'll call him right now.
Been hot downtown, boy?
Pretty warm, yeah.
Any kickback on that stolen car?
No, not yet.
Benson Plastics.
This is Sergeant Friday, Police Department.
Oh, yes, I'm glad you called me back. I think I've got a little more information for you.
Yeah?
Those 2 fellas you were looking for, did you find them?
No, not yet.
Well, I just remembered what they were doing out back there in the parking lot.
Yeah?
They were taking pictures
Of what?
of the 2 girls that was with them. I remember now. There were 2 young women with them. One was a blonde, and the other I don't recall.
How were they dressed?
The blonde had on a white shirt of some kind and a black dress. That's all I can tell you for sure.
Who was taking the pictures?
First the fellas took the girl's picture, and then the girls took snapshots of the fellas.
Thank you very much, Mr. Williamson.
Oh, it'll help you.
Yes, sir, it will. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
What do you got?
They've had their pictures taken.
Yeah?
Let's find the prints.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of Miss Nancy Appel, a night news writer for one of the world's great press services. This is her actual signed statement.
When you're working hard, smoking more, it's nice to enjoy a really mild cigarette. I've found the king-size cigarette that has this quality above all others. That cigarette is Fatima. Because it's extra mild, Fatima is always more enjoyable. That's why I agree. It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
And more smokers agree to that every day. Actual figures show Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
The long cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
The best of all long cigarettes.
Ben and I figured if we could possibly turn up the photographs that had been taken, we'd have something more definite to go on. We still had a lot of doubts. Maybe the janitor, Seth Williamson, was wrong. Maybe there were no pictures. If the snapshots had been taken, maybe they were still on the camera, undeveloped. With any kind of fast service and processing, the photos could have been picked up by now. We figured it was worth the chance and the time involved to check the lead out. All we had was the victim's scant description of the 2 hold-up men, and if we could possibly turn up pictures, it'd help a great deal. If Williamson was right, we'd have another lead, the 2 girls. 6:40 p.m., we started checking drugstores, going through all prints that had not yet been picked up by the customers. We'd made the rounds of all the drugstores in the neighborhood earlier in the day, but we double-checked the descriptions of the 2 men with the personnel in each store. By 9 p.m., we'd checked out 10 drugstores and found nothing. We were going on the hunch that the photos would most likely be dropped off for processing somewhere in the immediate neighborhood. It was only a hunch, and we were running out of drugstores.
Police business. We'd like to go through your photos that have been left for developing.
Yes, sir. Here's the box right here.
Oh, thank you.
I'll take half. Not very many this time, huh? Oh, don't forget to check the negatives, too. Sometimes they don't print them if they're bad.
Yeah, I know.
No, nothing in this one.
People sure take a lot of pictures of babies, don't they?
Yeah.
Nothing. These are sure fuzzy. Pictures at the zoo.
Pictures of Yellowstone. Ben.
Yeah?
Pay dirt, maybe.
Let me see. 2 guys. 2 girls.
One's a blonde, white blouse, dark skirt.
Look close.
Now, let's see. Left by a Marion Lang, 223 East Bexel.
Well, Claire.
Yes, sir?
You want to double-check us on this envelope?
Yes, sir.
This date and time right here, 3:30 p.m., August 6th.
Yes, that's correct. That's when the films were left for processing.
3 days before the robbery.
Did you ever see this woman in the picture before?
Let me see.
This
Oh,
one?
yes. Yeah. She comes in here quite often. Miss Lang is her name.
How about these men or this other girl here?
No, I've never seen them.
When were these prints supposed to be picked up?
I waited on her. She told me she'd pick them up yesterday.
Well, we'll have to take these photos along with us. They'll be returned.
All right, sir. How will I explain this to Miss Lang?
If this is the right address, you won't have to. Before we left, we called the office and had a stakeout placed in the drugstore in case Marion Lang tried to pick up the photos. We checked the address she gave on the envelope, 223 East Bixel. It was a small apartment building near the corner. The manager told us that Marion Lang had moved out the morning of August 9th, the day of the robbery. She left no forwarding address. The manager knew nothing of the other girl or the men in the photos. We checked with Myrtle Shaw, the victim. She positively identified the two men as the ones who robbed and slugged her. She knew nothing of the two girls. Hadn't seen them before. We put out a warrant on Marion Lang and gave the photos to Lieutenant Frank Cunningham and the record bureau. Monday morning, August 11th.
Morning, Frank.
Hello, boys.
Any record on the guys?
Nothing we could find, no. I'm having copies sent out right now.
Kind of thought maybe if we came up with pictures, we'd be halfway home.
Maybe we are.
How do you mean?
I had Tony make some blow-ups from the negatives. Full of grain. Probably taken with a cheap box camera of some kind, but it might help.
What'd you find?
I just checked the enlargements. They were still in the wash, but I think we got something. Let's go over the photocopy.
All right.
Yeah, good and clear now. Clear as they'll ever be, anyway. There we go. I had 16 by 20 enlargements made. This will show you what I found.
Yeah?
You guys take a good look at the face of this one man here.
Thought we did. Why?
It's pretty hard to see on those small prints. Look here. You see the nose on this one?
Mm-hmm.
I'd guess it's been broken one time or another, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You see here? Scar over the left eye, scar over the right eye. A couple of them.
Yeah?
Look at the right ear. See how mashed it is? We couldn't come up with any names for you, but I'll bet it'd be safe to guess his line of work.
Looks like a prize fighter.
Nothing in the oddity file. I checked and double-checked everything I could lay my hands on here in the department. I don't place him if he was a boxer of any standing.
I know where it's going.
Isn't much. Wish I had something else for you.
It's a lead, isn't it?
Might be.
It's more than we had. It was possible that one of the two hold-up men in the photos could have been a professional fighter. From his appearance and build, we felt it was a fair guess. We took copies of the snapshots to the State Boxing Commission, Los Angeles branch. We spoke with a Mr. Farmer, who couldn't seem to recall the man from his picture. We went over the description that the victim had given us. Farmer said that he knew a great many of the fighters because at one time or another they all check in and out of the commission before a bout. But the man in the snapshot remained unidentified. He checked through several hundred cards bearing the photographs of boxers in the files. No luck. Farmer suggested that we try the Spring Street Gym, where the out-of-town fighters get into shape and the boxers in-town train. We left him a copy of the photograph and our card so that he could continue checking back through his files. It was 10:22 a.m. when we got to the Spring Street Gym.
Here's the manager's office.
Come in.
You the boss here?
Yeah. What can I do for you?
Police officers.
Yeah?
We're looking for a man we think might be a fighter. I wonder if you can help us out.
Sure try.
I'm Sergeant Friday. This is my partner, Ben Romero.
Hi. My name's Charlie Coleman.
Here's a couple of photographs for you to look at, Mr. Coleman.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen this fellow on the right?
Let's see here. Let's walk over by the window, get a little light on him. Wait a minute. Used to work out here all the time a couple of years back. Name's Billy. Marshall. Yeah, that's right. One of them named Billy the Kid Marshall.
Is he still around?
Oh, gee, I couldn't tell you. It's been a good 2 years since I've seen him up here.
Any idea where we might locate him?
I doubt it. Used to be a Benny Farber stable. Benny's been east now over a year. Let me check back through my locker listings. Maybe I still got something on him. Let's see. Out cards. Yeah, that's what we want. Let's take them over here by the window where we can read them. As I recall, Marshall wasn't much of a fighter. 5'11", Barber nursed him up through the prelims, got him to semi-wind-ups. He started hitting the bottle. Played the dame. Oh, yeah, here we are.
Can I see that, please?
Oh, sure. Here you are. Billy the Kid. Big, beefy boy. Real sucker for right cross.
1637 Carver Avenue. That's the last address you got on him?
Whatever the card says, yeah. Real sucker for the old right cross.
Thank you very much, Mr. Coleman.
You're welcome, boys. Anytime. What's he done?
We just want him for questioning.
Oh, I see.
If you should hear from him, don't tell him we're looking for him.
Let's go. Thanks again.
What do you think he did wrong?
I don't know. How do you block a right cross? We called the new information into Captain Walker, and he sent a crew of men to the Boxing Commission to check further. 1637 Carver Avenue. It was a cheap rooming house on the west side of town. Marshall hadn't lived there for over a year and a half. The landlady gave us a forwarding address. The next place hadn't seen him for a year. We kept checking and rechecking, going from one end of town to the other. Each place was a little better than the last. It was easy to trace Billy the Kid's rise in the fight game, such as it was, by the condition of the places he lived in. We covered 6 different rooming houses, boarding houses, and apartments. Each time his residence had been a little more recent. 5:15 p.m., Monday, August 11th. We pulled up in front of the Sunflower Hotel, 433 Banyan Street. Rates, $2 a week and up.
Nobody at the desk. I'll ring the bell.
How do you do?
Police officers. Have you got a Billy Marshall registered here?
No, no one by that name here.
You take a look at this picture. Either one of these men live here?
Oh, sure, that's Tom Green and George Martin, room 9.
They in now?
I could buzz their room and see.
No, never mind. Room 9, you said.
Yes, sir, that's right.
Let's go.
Room 9.
Cover me.
Right.
Yeah? Special delivery letter.
Slip it out of the door.
You have to sign for it. All right, stand still, police officer.
Tom.
Watch it, man.
Take the other one, Tom. Joe, look out. All right, hold it right there, Marshal. Get over there against the wall. You, get up. Go over there with him. Move. Give me a hand, Joe. I'll help you up. You all right?
Yeah, I'm okay.
There he is, Joe. Looks like his picture. Fits the description.
Except for one thing.
Yeah?
He's no sucker for a right cross.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On March 27th, 1947, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 81, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to extra mild Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, Extra Mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the king-size cigarette that is extra mild.
Extra mild because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give it a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Both William Marshall and his accomplice were found guilty of armed robbery and grand theft auto and are now serving their terms as prescribed by law. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet transcribed from Los Angeles. Screen Directors presents Lucille Ball as Miss Grant tomorrow on NBC.
The Signal Oil Program. Yes, the Signal Oil Program. The Whistler. That whistle is your signal for the Signal Oil Program, The Whistler.
I am the Whistler, and I know many things, for I walk by night. I know many strange tales hidden in the hearts of men and women who have stepped into the shadows. Yes, I know the nameless terrors of which they dare not speak.
Yes, friends, it's time for the Signal Oil Program, The Whistler, rated tops in popularity for a longer period of time than any other West Coast program in radio history. And Signal gasoline is tops, too, tops in quality. It takes extra quality, you know, to give you extra mileage. And Signal is the famous Go Farther gasoline. So look for the Signal circle sign in yellow and black that identifies independently operated signal stations from Canada to Mexico. And now the Whistler's strange story. Perfect Alibi.
Entering the Golden Sparrow, a cozy little cocktail lounge near the far end of Beverly Boulevard, Private Investigator Johnny Seltzer, 30, handsome, off duty at the moment, found business at a standstill. He went straight to the bar and ordered a drink.
Scotch and water. I'll mix it. Right. Old Masters, if you have it.
Old Masters it is.
Good.
Johnny carried his drink to the nearest empty table and sat down to think. Self-centered, cynical, and, in his own estimation, a smooth operator, many things were on his mind, especially Johnny Seltzer himself. Things hadn't been going too well for him. Tom Silver, founder of the Silver Detective Agency, had threatened him with dismissal unless he changed his ways, ceased gambling, and gave closer attention to his duties. Staring moodily at the voluptuous paintings lining the walls, Johnny suddenly pushed back his chair and walked over to the jukebox at the end of the bar and slid a nickel into the slot. Returning to his table, he sat back to finish his drink, listened to the music, and sympathized with himself. Ordinarily, Johnny would have welcomed the voice which abruptly shattered his mood. A low, sibilant voice that seemed to come from nowhere.
I like music, too.
Does that make us pals?
Don't seem very happy.
I was.
Most men would be glad to see me.
Yeah, well, I'm different.
I'm sure you are. That's why I came over.
That was my wife's favorite line.
Maybe that's why it didn't register.
It could be.
You didn't like her much, huh?
I didn't.
Divorced?
I didn't kill her. Say, what are you anyway, an investigator for the World Psychology Foundation? I'm surprised you haven't asked me why I got married in the first place.
Oh, I figured that out already. So?
And it shows on you, too.
What?
Your merger with the bankroll behind that mink and ice you're modeling there.
No merger. Present. From a relative.
That's quite a coincidence, isn't it?
What is?
Two people who like money meeting up in a place like Hollywood. And now that we know all about each other, let's call it a day, huh?
Why?
Why not?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe because it's still early. Maybe because it's raining outside.
That's not good enough. I like to walk in the rain. Nice if you'd invite yourself over. Maybe I'll run into you again sometime.
Wait a second.
Yeah?
Am I that hard to take?
How would I know?
You might find out.
I'm not curious.
Can I take your order?
No, thanks. I'm taking a powder.
Waiter, 2 scotches and waters. We'll mix it.
I said I was leaving.
Don't be like that, Johnny. Sit down.
What was that name you called me?
You're Johnny Seltzer, Private Eye, aren't you?
Okay. You know who I am. I figured that pickup pitch was a phony. Well, like you said, I'm Johnny Seltzer.
And I'm Alice Collins.
Who's she?
She's the niece of Charles Collins.
Charles Collins? Not the #1 boy of lumber.
That's what it says in the paper. I never saw him till 2 years ago. He wrote and asked me how I'd like to live out here, and I said I'd like it. So here I am.
Mm-hmm. Eastern talent?
I was born and raised in Springfield, Missouri.
Who sent you to me?
Nobody. I saw you out at Dilbo's one night last week. I asked a croupier who you were.
I see. The lady gambles, loses. Now she wants me to get her money back, right?
Wrong.
No, I don't think so. What did you do? Follow me here from the office?
Mm-hmm. Am I forward?
Just say easy to approach, like a department store.
Pardon me.
Okay, waiter. Let's have the check, huh?
Just put it on my bill, will you, please?
Certainly, Miss Collins.
Take it out of this. Keep the change.
Thank you.
Well, that was nice of you, Johnny.
Cigarette?
Thanks.
Now, look, Springfield, you got an angle or you wouldn't be talking to me. What is it?
You ought to get over that inferiority complex. There's no angle. I just thought you'd be a nice guy to know. Later on, after I know you better, I might be able to throw a little business your way.
Detective business?
Terrific detective business. Maybe as much as $50,000.
Well, that's nice money. It's too bad I work on a straight salary. The Tom Silver Detective Agency makes the deal.
Not this one. This would be a special deal, Johnny. $50,000. Just for you. Interested?
If it was legit, you wouldn't be putting out that kind of dough.
You're jumping to conclusions, aren't you?
Maybe. But if I'm wrong, you can always take it up with the agency. You know where the office is.
Okay, Johnny. But if you ever change your mind and want to talk it over, call me up.
I will. So long, Springfield.
You can get me almost any afternoon at Melrose. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's easy to remember, Johnny. All you have to do is count 5 backwards.
When you leave the Golden Sparrow, you're sure you've seen the last of Alice Collins, aren't you, Johnny? Yet a few days later, you're not so sure. Your boss, Mr. Silver, has you on the carpet again, and you have an unpleasant feeling you'll soon be out of a job. $50,000 is a lot of money, and Alice herself is something to ponder over. She's really beautiful, isn't she, Johnny? You can't forget her lovely features, her low musical voice. The things she said keep repeating themselves.
$50,000. Just for you. It's easy to remember, Johnny. Melrose, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All you have to do is count 5. Backwards.
A few afternoons later, you enter a drugstore, cross to the phone booth, lift the receiver, deposit a coin, and reach for the dial.
You can get me at Melrose, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's easy to remember, Johnny. All you have to do is count 5. Backwards.
With the prologue of Perfect Alibi, the Signal Oil Company brings you another strange story by The Whistler. Have you been putting off buying new tires? You're going to be glad you waited, because now you can save real money at Signal service stations. But hold on. Don't get the idea that Signal dealers are offering cut-price merchandise. Signal dealers feature nationally advertised first-line Lee tires built to top-quality standards. In fact, for 47 years, Lee has built only one quality, the finest first-line tires. And today's Lees wear much, much longer, because Lee toughens cold rubber with patented high-abrasive Fill Black O. That's why Lee can back every tire with a double guarantee. Well, since such quality obviously can't be sold at cut prices, how can Signal dealers save you money? By giving you today's biggest allowance for your old tires. That's right. That sign outside Signal stations means just what it says. Biggest allowance for your old tires on top-quality Lee tires. I can't tell you exactly how much your old tires are worth, but they're worth plenty. And you can easily find out by driving into any Signal station. So before you buy any tires, see a Signal dealer. You'll be glad you did.
Johnny. A few days ago, when you left the Golden Sparrow after your pickup tete-a-tete with Alice Collins, niece of the multimillionaire lumberman Charles Collins, you didn't expect to see her again, did you? You're a licensed private detective, and she sounds like trouble. But with things piling up on you as they have, you decide you were a little hasty. An hour after phoning her, you drive to a modest little apartment building on Fountain Avenue near Cahuenga. Curious but still cautious, you knock lightly on the door.
Hello, Springfield.
Hello, Johnny. Come in.
You still like music, don't you?
Mm-hmm. I've got a good memory, too.
You have at that.
Here, let me take your hat. Then we'll go in the sunroom.
Okay.
Sit here, Johnny, and help yourself. Cigarette, scotch, and ice water.
Oh, this is cozy. Real cozy.
My uncle gives me a very nice allowance. I spend every weekend with him, out at his home near the ocean.
That's quite a home, from what I hear. Swimming pool, badminton court.
Mm-hmm. But I'm young and like to go places. Uncle Charles didn't want me to drive out there alone late at night all the time, and so he suggested I take an apartment in town. You see, I'm his only blood relative.
You ought to have quite a future.
Mm-hmm. If I'm not an old lady before anything happens to him.
I wouldn't dwell on it. Nobody lives forever.
Excuse me, Johnny.
Sure.
Oh, Frankie.
Hello, beautiful. Here.
Thanks. Oh, they're lovely.
So are you. How about a drink?
In the sunroom. You can mix me one while I put these in the icebox. I've been talking with the man for Uncle Oh, Johnny.
Hello, Snoop.
Well, you two know each other?
For years. Hiya, Frankie. What are you doing here?
I'm here a lot. How gorgeous.
Yes. You see, Johnny...
What I can't figure out is what a Snoop's doing here.
Business. Strictly business, Frankie.
You see, Uncle Charles has been sick, and, well, he heard rumors, things at the mill weren't on the up and up, and asked me to make some inquiries.
Why didn't you ask me about it, baby? I'd have gotten you the best in the business.
You don't think Johnny's good?
He's all right. Oh, forget it, Snoop. I'm sorry I acted like I was sore. But when you're nuts about a dame, bad, you know how it is.
Sure, Frankie. That's okay.
Cigarette?
Yeah, thanks.
I'll be back in a second. I want to put these on.
All right, take your time.
It's a nice cigarette. Class, too. F.B. Frankie Benson, monogrammed in Old English. Everything.
You really like it?
Like I said, Frankie. Class.
Well, here. Take a bunch.
Oh, no, I didn't mean
that. Go ahead, go on. I order them by the gross.
Well, thanks.
This job for old man Collins you're talking to the doll about.
Oh, I don't know anything about it yet. I just got here 2 minutes before you did.
No. How about a drink?
Sounds fine.
I think I'll skip it, baby. You got to talk to Snoop here. I'll pick you up at dinner around 7, okay?
Sounds fine.
Good. Drop around later on, Snoop. Say around 5:30. I might have an idea for you.
5:30 it is. So long, Frankie.
Well, Johnny, your golden girl seems a little tarnished, doesn't she? Not that you're surprised, but you are disappointed. And a little nettled to realize that a girl with the background of Alice Collins would waste her time on a gambler, a glorified hoodlum like Frankie Benson, operator of the notorious Dilbo's Gambling Club. After Frankie's departure, you make no attempt to hide your annoyance.
Nice friends you got.
Honestly, Johnny, it's not what you think.
What do I think?
You think I'm Frankie Benson's girl?
Well, aren't you?
No.
He thinks so.
I know he does. The way things are, I've had to let him think so. I owe him money, Johnny, a lot of money.
Oh. So the lady did gamble and lose.
Yes, she did. And if Uncle Charles found out, he'd cut off my allowance like that. Maybe send me back to Springfield, even.
So you want me to get your money back? Springfield. This is where I came in. Frankie Benson plays too rough for me. Way too rough.
Wrong again, Johnny. I don't want you to stick out your neck from me.
What do you want me to do?
That's all.
Look, Springfield, that day I met you, you mentioned a piece of business you could throw my way. $50,000 worth.
I said we'd talk about that after I knew you better.
Now, how long is that going to take?
Not very long, I hope.
As you drive out to Dilbo's at the request of Frankie Benson, your imagination goes far beyond anything you've ever thought of. You decide to marry Alice Collins. She's beautiful, and someday she'll inherit the Collins lumber fortune, reported to amount to more than $2 million. But you're worried about her connection with Frankie Benson. Frankie usually gets what he wants in one way or another. And when he doesn't, well, accidents happen, don't they? But when you enter his office, he's more than friendly.
Hello, Sherlock. Sit down.
Thanks.
Take a handful of cigarettes. You said you like them.
Well, like I said, they're class.
I haven't seen you around lately, Johnny. What's the matter? Don't you like to play here anymore?
Oh, sure, Frankie, but, well, I owe you nearly a G right now, and I figured maybe I'd better pay up before I...
Oh, your credit's always good here, Johnny. As long as we're friends.
Well, it's nice to know. Well, what do you want to see me about?
Oh, nothing in particular. Just curious about that snoop job for old man Collins. Is it all set?
I don't know. Alice, or Miss Collins, is going to talk to her uncle about it. I'll know in a couple of days.
How come she picked you?
Well, she didn't. She called the office. The boss sent me out to talk to her.
I'm glad you told me that, Johnny. I've always liked you. If there's anything I hate, it's being jealous of a guy I like.
Well, like I told you, Miss Collins is called as a client, and the boss sent me out there. It's strictly business, Frankie.
I'm glad, Johnny. And I hope you keep it that way. Both of you.
Frankie Benson's cordial manner doesn't fool you for a minute, does it, Johnny? It only makes his thinly veiled threats more pointed. Frankie Benson is still a gangster of the old school. And you have no intention of giving up Alice Collins. But you decide you'd better be careful. And for the next few weeks, your meetings with Alice are at out-of-the-way places, usually some distance into the country. You're determined that nothing is going to prevent your marrying her and enjoying the fortune which will be hers after the death of her uncle. The idea of her uncle's quick departure doesn't seem to shock you at all anymore, does it, Johnny? She says nothing further about the business deal she mentioned. Finally, as you decide it's time for a showdown, she phones you late one evening and asks you to drop by her apartment. She seems tense and excited.
Frankie Benson dropped in this afternoon, Johnny. He wasn't very pleasant.
Now, look, you're playing with dynamite leading that guy on. He always takes care of Welchers, and when he goes nuts over a dame, he really goes nuts. The last dame that tried to fool him had a very peculiar accident. She fell on a letter opener and cut herself bad.
I know. He told me about it today while I was opening the afternoon mail. He gave me an ultimatum, Johnny. Marry him or pay up in 2 weeks.
Well, can't you figure some way to get the money from your uncle?
$33,000? Not while he's alive. Of course, he could go any time. He's a restless sleeper. He's got asthma, high blood pressure, and a weak heart. He might even get tangled up in the bedclothes some night and smother.
You think that might happen?
It could.
And if it did, there'd be $50,000 in it for me, right?
Yes, Johnny. $50,000 just for you.
It's too risky. I wouldn't be around long enough to spend it.
There's no risk at all. I'll take you out to Uncle Charles a couple of times. By the time you make up your mind, you'll know every foot of the place. You'll have the key to the front door in your pocket.
The servants would all be deaf, huh?
On Thursday nights, they're out. Except Whitcomb, the butler. He's always there in case Uncle Charles needs him.
Wait a minute. You'd expect me to...
Whitcomb's no problem. No problem at all. He always reads in the library, near the phone. You see, you'll open the front door at 11 o'clock. At 2 minutes before 11, I'll phone. When he answers, I'll hold him for 10 minutes at least. That'll give you all the time you need. Uncle Charles' death will be the most natural thing in the world. Doctor says it could happen any time.
Mm-hmm. You really got it figured out, haven't you?
A long time ago.
Yeah, well, I'm afraid you picked the wrong guy. Too many chances for a slip-up. Things could go wrong. The doc might get suspicious, find it was murder.
What if he does? You won't be connected with it. You'll have a perfect alibi.
What?
You'll be with me at my place all evening. There's no reason to think that I'd wish my uncle any harm. We'll have a few drinks. You can leave your fingerprints over everywhere. Forget your cigarette case, your top coat. It'll stand up. What about it, Johnny?
50,000's not enough.
After the will's settled, I'll double it.
No, that's not enough either. I'm not interested in the money anymore. I want you, Springfield. I want to marry you.
Do you think I'd ever let you get away from me, darling?
I like that.
So did I. What about next Thursday, Johnny?
Maybe. I gotta figure out the other half of the problem first.
The other half?
Frankie Benson. As long as he's around, what happens to your uncle won't mean a thing.
And you do figure it out, don't you, Johnny? Frankie Benson's monogram cigarette. Instead of making it look like an accident, you'll make it look like murder. A murder that will send Frankie Benson to the gas chamber. The following Thursday evening, you go to Alice's apartment to double-check the details.
Now, look, Springfield, about Frankie Benson.
He called up a couple of minutes ago, Johnny. Wanted to drop over for a while. I told him I had a headache.
What'd he say?
He's beginning to scare me, Johnny. He told me I'd better take a nap. Said I might get dizzy and fall down and hurt myself. Said he'd call back in a couple of hours and see how I felt.
Good. That's all I needed. Let's see. It takes about 40 minutes to drive from Dilbo's to here. All right. When he calls back, tell him to come over about 11:15.
But I thought you were...
I'm taking care of Frankie tonight, too. With one of these.
Frankie's monogram cigarette.
Yeah. I worked it all out, Springfield. All I needed was a break, like Frankie's phone call. Tonight's job's going to be murder. A murder that'll send Frankie Benson to the gas chamber.
Oh, no, Johnny. The other way's safer.
We won't get another chance like this in a million years. Now, when I leave, I'll drop one of these monogram cigarettes by the front door. The rest is automatic.
Oh, no, Johnny. It won't work. The cigarette will point to Frankie, sure, but it won't stand up when he tells the police he was framed. They'll believe him. Frankie hasn't any reason to kill Uncle Charles.
I've taken care of that, too. I called the DA this afternoon. Said I was your uncle and told him to send a man out tomorrow morning. The newspaper boys will be there, too. They're expecting a big story about Frankie Benson.
Oh, you're out of your mind, Johnny. Uncle Charles never gambled in his life. He never even heard of Frankie Benson.
The DA heard different. He thinks your uncle found out about your gambling losses to Frankie. He sent out a private eye to Dilbo's. The guy picked up a couple of pairs of dice. Loaded. Cute, huh?
Yes, it is. But what about Frankie's coming here tonight?
Now, that's the clincher, baby. When he gets here, your headache will be so bad you'll have to send him away. When the cops pick him up, if he tells them he was here, he's lying. That's my alibi. I was here all of the evening.
Oh, it'll work, Johnny. Oh, you're wonderful.
Well, that's it, baby. With you to back me, it can't miss. Wish me luck, Springfield.
All the luck in the world, darling. Hurry back.
Well, I'm not coming back tonight, baby. Our alibi is all set. The evidence will back us up. I think it's better if I just hold up at home for a day or so, huh?
I guess you're right.
Now, look, don't forget to phone the butler just before 11.
I won't. Come here, Johnny.
Huh?
That's for luck, darling.
The Whistler will return in just a moment with a strange ending to tonight's story. Since this is the season when so many of the most popular radio shows go off the air for the summer, I have tonight what I trust will be good news for you Whistler fans. The Signal Oil program, The Whistler, will continue to come to you throughout the summer without interruption. This makes the 6th consecutive year that Signal Oil Company has broadcast The Whistler for 52 weeks each year. What's more, if your vacation travel should take you into other Pacific Coast states, you can still enjoy your favorite mystery, because Signal Oil Company broadcasts The Whistler on 16 CBS stations throughout 5 Pacific Coast states. For the nearest Columbia station to wherever you happen to be, just consult the handy radio log in the new Signal road maps, which are yours for the asking at all Signal stations. So this summer, when you want the tops in radio entertainment, we hope you'll continue to tune in The Whistler. And when you want the tops in gasoline quality, we hope you'll turn in to a Signal service station and fill up with Signal, the famous Go Farther gasoline.
Taking care of Charles Collins was easy, wasn't it? Everything went exactly as you planned. And it came easy to you, didn't it, Johnny? You even slept soundly afterward. The following morning, lolling back in your one comfortable chair, you read the whole story in the papers. It's all over the front page. Lumber King murdered. Police solved case in record time. Killer apprehended. Everything worked out exactly as you planned, didn't it, Johnny? And in a few months, you'll marry Alice Collins and the Collins fortune. As the doorbell rings, you decide it must be another bill collector. That amuses you, doesn't it? You stroll leisurely to the door and turn the knob.
Well, it's you, Lieutenant. Hello, Jennings. Come on in, boy.
No, I haven't got time, Johnny. Besides, we can talk better downtown. Get your hat.
Is that official?
Very. Murder, Johnny. Collins killing last night.
Oh, yeah. I was just reading about that when you came in.
You've been seeing a lot of his niece lately, haven't you, Johnny?
Yeah, sure. She's a client of mine. I was with her last night, at her apartment, as a matter of fact, from 9 until, well, nearly 1 this morning.
Is that an official statement?
Of course it is.
Make a note of it, Jennings. Well, as a matter of fact, we know all about that, Johnny. You left your fingerprints all over the place. You must have been pretty high. You even forgot your overcoat, cigarette case.
Oh, well, I'll admit we had a few drinks. But what's the idea, Lieutenant? The morning paper says you've already nabbed the guy that killed Collins.
Yes, we have. Frankie Benson. He was a little noisy making his exit. He got panicky and dropped his card as he opened the front door. A half-smoked cigarette. Monogrammed. His own special brand.
Benson admitted it?
No. But his alibi was so phony, he's as good as convicted right now.
Yeah, but what motive would Benson have?
Plenty. Old man Collins had him cold. Crooked game. Loaded dice. He was going to give the DA the whole story this morning.
Well, if you've got everything so sewed up, why do you want to talk to me about the Charles Collins murder?
We're taking you in for the murder of his niece, Alice Collins, Johnny. She got hers about 11 last night in her apartment. Stabbed with a letter opener, as if you didn't know. Pretty clumsy accident, Johnny.
Let that whistle be your signal for the Signal Oil program, The Whistler, each Sunday night at this same time. Brought to you by the Signal Oil Company, marketers of Signal gasoline and motor oil, and fine quality automotive accessories. Signal has asked me to remind you, to get the most driving pleasure, drive at sensible speeds, be courteous, and obey traffic regulations. It may save a life, possibly your own. Featured in tonight's story were Jack Webb, Doris Singleton, and Eddie Marr. The Whistler was produced and directed by George W. Allen, with story by Ed Bloodworth, music by Wilbur Hatch, and was transmitted to our troops overseas by the Armed Forces Radio Service. The Whistler is entirely fictional, and all characters portrayed on The Whistler are also fictional. Any similarity of names or resemblance to persons, living or dead, is purely coincidental. Remember at the same time next Sunday, another strange tale by The Whistler. Marvin Miller speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
You're about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A woman has been murdered, her identity unknown. The body shows the marks of a savage attack. Your job, find the killer.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild. To give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Sunday, December 25th. It was raining in Los Angeles. We were working a day watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Blaine Steed, captain of homicide. My name's Friday. It was 39 minutes past 5 a.m. when I got to San Andreas Cathedral on 1st Street. Churchyard. Hi, Dave.
Hi, Joe. Body's over here.
All right.
Merry Christmas, huh?
Yeah.
Section from the church found it about an hour ago. Have a look. Pretty brutal.
Yeah. Okay. Who is she?
No identification.
The coroner checked the body yet?
Yep.
How long she been dead?
When it started raining. About midnight, didn't it?
Yeah. The ground's dry under the body.
Oh, been dead 5 or 6 hours, I'd say.
Ben get here yet?
Yeah, he's helping Claudio check the area.
This park here, is this all a part of the church grounds?
I think so. I was stuck out of this rain for a minute. There's an alcove over there by the church.
Yeah, look. How much we got to go on, Dave?
Not much. Motive looks like robbery. Found a woman's purse near the body. Pretty well picked over. Purse is wet. Lee Jones is dusting the contents for Fritz. Coroner's checking.
Any idea what the killer used in the woman's face?
The coroner figures a sharp instrument of some kind. A nasty one.
Yeah.
Friday, you look wet.
Hi, Ali. So do you.
Everything happened on Christmas. Purse was soaking wet.
Ordinary black handbag.
Raise any prints on the stuff inside?
Not a one. Here, you can check the contents.
Thank you. Let's see. Small comb. Most of the teeth out of it. 3 pennies. Hairpins, mirror, lipstick.
That's it, Ali.
A couple more things.
Yeah.
This fountain pen, this door key. Armstrong found them in the grass a few feet from the body.
Can I have a look at those?
Yeah, it's an ordinary ballpoint fountain pen. Buy them in any drugstore for 69 cents.
No sign of rust on the key. Must have been dropped recently.
Maybe this will explain what happened to her face. Broken beer bottle.
Where'd you find that?
Laughlin found it back in the bushes over there. These jagged edges here smeared with blood.
Mm-hmm.
Too much rain. Can't do anything about prints till it dries.
Can you get enough from these smears to run a precipitant?
Think so.
Lee, got a minute?
Yeah, Ben, what is it?
Oh, hi, Joe.
Hi.
Claudio found a set of footprints over by that clump of shrubbery. Rain hasn't spoiled them yet.
Did you cover them?
Yeah, I think you can get a pretty good cast from them.
Better get a picture of them right away. Hey, Charlie.
Right with you, Lee.
I'll get the stuff from the car. You mind giving me a hand, Dave?
Oh, let's go.
Well, this takes care of Christmas, Joe.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to check the body yet?
Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Well, there's no sign of struggle. Could have happened after a Christmas Eve brawl, maybe.
Yeah?
Whoever the victim is, she was probably acquainted with the killer. The two of them came in the park, and the victim got it before she knew what was happening.
Might work easier if we find out who the victim is.
And we can check her prints through R&I when we get back to the office. What'd those footprints look like?
Seemed like a heavy print, maybe work shoes of some kind. Want to see how Lee's making out?
Yeah, let's go.
Gonna miss Christmas dinner again this year. Footprint, fountain pen, and key. Where do we start?
It's a cheap pen. They sell thousands of them. Want to smoke?
Oh, thanks. Footprints will help convict the killer. Gotta find him first. Thank you.
I don't know. Maybe we can work a switch.
How's that?
Find the lock that fits the key. 9 a.m., Christmas Day. Sergeants Dave Arroyo, Robert Claudio, Ben, and I went back to the office and took stock of what we had to work with. It wasn't much. The woman had been murdered. Who was she? Why was she killed? Who was the killer? Dave and Claudio had the dead woman's fingerprints taken, and they were run through the record bureau. Ben and I checked with Lee Jones at the crime lab. The results of the precipitant test showed that the type of blood found on the broken beer bottle matched that of the victim. From the cast of the foot impressions found at the scene of the killing, Lee estimated that they were made by a person approximately 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighing about 160 pounds. He figured the foot gear must have been of a heavy type, either a boot or a dress shoe with thick double soles, size 11. 9:40 a.m. We checked in at the basement of the Hall of Justice, the county morgue. Doc, how's it going?
Oh, there, Joe. Death caused by multiple fracture of the skull. Flashing in the face was a contributing cause. I sent her close to Lee Jones.
Yeah, we know. No laundry mark.
Well, I got two things. Maybe they'll help, maybe they won't.
Yeah?
The chemist's report here on the blood analysis shows the victim was drinking. She was definitely under the influence at the time she was murdered. 0.12% alcohol in the blood.
Mm-hmm. How about the murder weapon, Doc? We gonna rule out that beer bottle?
I'm just coming to that. Step over here.
Yeah?
This mark here on the side of her face, brown smudge.
Well, Jones says that that's shoe polish. He analyzed a few of the particles.
Ties in. The cause of death was brought about by severe blows in the head and face.
Heavy shoe, huh?
That's my guess. Probably a boot or a work shoe.
That doesn't add, Joe.
How do you mean?
If they were heavy work shoes the killer was wearing, why would they polish? How many people polish their work shoes?
Could be waterproofing.
No, Jones says it was a brown paste polish.
And it doesn't figure.
Unless the killer was wearing some kind of dress boots.
Cycle boots, maybe. Hundreds of kids on motorcycles wear them.
Yeah. That's going to be about as helpful as a key or a cheap fountain pen.
Excuse me. County Morgue, Tyson speaking. Yeah, all right, Frank. I'll tell him. Cunningham at R&I wants to see you right away.
What's up?
They made the victim's prints.
During the war years, a complete file of pictures and fingerprints had been kept on all persons employed at local defense plants. Out of this file came our first major lead. The victim's fingerprints matched those of one Maria Camacho, 38 years old, formerly employed at Universal Aircraft. Her address in 1945 was listed as 9230 Sheridan Avenue. Ben and I went over to the crime lab, picked up the key and the fountain pen found near the body, and drove to the Sheridan Avenue address. The house was 3 blocks from the churchyard where the body was found. A young woman with a baby in her arms answered the door. She identified herself as Elena Gomez. She told us Maria Camacho was her aunt. They were expecting her for Christmas dinner late that afternoon. We told her what happened. When she recovered from the shock, we questioned her and her husband, a furniture worker.
So hard for me to believe. Why anyone would do this to me?
When's the last time you saw her, Mr. Gomez?
She was around last night, Sergeant. She brought the presents for the kids. Always brought them presents on Christmas.
Did she live here? Was this her permanent address?
No. She stayed with us during the war when Ray was overseas. When he came back, she took a room down the street. I can give you the address.
All right. What time did Maria leave the house last night?
Well, let's see. Must have been around 10 o'clock. Not much later. Don't you think, Elena? About 10 o'clock?
Yeah, let's go see what those kids are doing, huh, Ray?
Yeah, all right.
Did Maria have anything to drink here last night, Miss Gomez?
Yes, we shared a glass of sherry together, that's all.
Could you tell if she'd been drinking before she came here?
Oh, it's Christmas Eve. I guess she'd had a few. Why?
Was she a pretty heavy drinker?
Not usually, no. Maybe on the holidays, though. We like to get out and have fun, living alone and all that. Poor Maria.
Oh, did she drink at home, or was there some particular place she liked to go?
A cantina down on Soda Street. She used to go there.
Any others?
A couple of bars on Brooklyn Avenue. I don't know the names.
What did Maria do for a living, Miss Gomez?
She took in some dressmaking. Worked for herself. She wasn't poor, wasn't rich. Her landlady could tell you about her friends.
Kids are hungry, Lana. Dinner's getting cold.
Sorry that we had to break in on you like this.
Well, it's all right, Sergeant. It's just the kids.
Ask the officers if they want some mince pie, Ray. Cup of coffee.
No. That's all right, Miss Gomez, thank you.
Just one more thing. Would you look at these, please? This pen.
Sure, that's Maria's. Look, Ray, Maria's pen.
Mm-hmm. Now, how about this key?
No, I never saw that before.
Neither did I.
Well, thanks very much, both of you. Sorry to hold up your dinner.
Oh, that's all right. I'm not hungry. Hey, maybe I could fix you a turkey sandwich.
No, thank you, Jeff. The same we have to be going. We'll contact you later on. Here's our card.
All right. I can't think of a reason, Sergeant. Why someone would kill her. Why would they kill Maria? Poor Maria.
Come on.
Nice kid. Seem to be having a good Christmas. Too bad we had to spoil it. We drove down the street to the rooming house where Maria Camacho stayed. We talked to the landlady and the rest of the tenants, but failed to come up with a lead. They told us Maria Camacho drank a little, but she was always pleasant, easy to get along with. We checked her room. We went through stacks of Spanish-language newspapers and magazines. We went through her bills, photographs, her letters. We found nothing. There wasn't an item in the small apartment that could help us. We went through the entire rooming house, trying each door with a key that we'd found by the body. It didn't fit any of them, not even the door to the victim's room. 5 p.m., there was a lull in the rain. We picked up Dave and Claudio and started to explore the only lead we had. The victim had been drinking a few hours before she'd been murdered, probably at a neighborhood tavern. For the next 6 hours, we canvassed every bar in the vicinity. 11:15 p.m., Christmas night. The four of us met in a combination bar restaurant at Brooklyn and Soto for a bite to eat.
You had as much luck as we did, huh?
Nothing, Dave. Everybody we talked to knew the woman. Nobody saw her Christmas Eve.
We picked up the names of a dozen friends of hers from the bartenders. Checked them out. They couldn't tell us anything.
Well, we still got another dozen bars to cover at least. She must have been in one of them last night.
Wish we'd find it. My wife's sure mad.
You got company, so's mine. All right, gentlemen. Who had the grilled ham sandwich?
I did.
All right. And 3 hamburgers?
Yep.
There we go. My plate.
You got some ketchup, please?
Sure. Say, you wouldn't like a little eggnog to go with that. It's good. I make the batter myself.
No.
Hey, there's something you can do for us. Yes, sir? Would you look at this picture? All right. See if you can identify this woman. Sure looks like Maria. Yeah, that's her. You know her?
Was she in here last night, do you know?
Yeah, she was.
What time was she in?
Oh, about 11:30. Why?
Was she with somebody?
Oh, half a dozen of them at least. Maria, another woman, and 4 or 5 men.
Were they drinking?
Well, they were well behaved. Just had a little Christmas cheer, that's all. They liked my eggnog.
At what time did Maria leave? Do you remember?
Well, no, not exactly, but she left before the others. They closed the place. You fellas cops?
Did she leave alone?
No, Tony followed her out. I think it must have been sometime around midnight. I'm not sure.
Who's Tony?
Tony Perez. He's busboy here. He knows Maria.
Where's he now?
Christmas. He's off. Lives in a hotel down the street someplace. I don't know.
Time fit. Maybe the key does. Dave and Claudio started to check the neighborhood to locate the hotel where Tony Perez stayed. Ben and I continued our canvass of bars and restaurants in the area. 1 a.m., the rain started in again. We checked in at a bar on Brooklyn Avenue near Cornwall, the Cantina Sinaloa.
Yes, sir. Gentlemen?
Police officers. Would you look at this picture, please, see if you can identify it?
Wait till I dry my hands. Let's just getting some of these glasses out of the way. Let's see.
You ever see her before?
Oh, yeah, that's Maria. Too bad. I read in the papers about it.
Can you tell us if she was in here last night?
No, I didn't see her. I read in the papers about it, though. Terrible. Poor Maria.
Is it possible she might have been in? You didn't see her?
No, I always know when Maria's here. She was always full of fun. She liked to sing. I better get these glasses finished.
Ben, you want to call the office?
Yeah, okay.
How about a drink, Sergeant? You don't look so good.
You got any coffee?
Not very fresh. It's been standing there a couple of hours.
Well, that's all right.
Okay. Here. Here's the sugar.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's not very warm, huh?
Oh, that's okay.
What do you think, officer? The guy was crazy?
I don't know.
He must have been crazy. Lots of nice rain. That's good for the farmers.
Yeah.
Sure.
You ever see this key before?
Let's see. I don't know.
Joe.
Yeah.
Dave and Claudio found the hotel that picked up Tony Perez. Took him in.
What did he tell him?
Dave says they're talking to him now. He won't say much.
Did they find anything on him?
He's wearing a pair of dark brown boots.
Yeah?
Well polished.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of skater Larry Jackson, one of the stars of the Los Angeles Ice Capades. This is his actual signed statement.
When the excitement of the show is over, a mild cigarette is important for smoking enjoyment. I found Fatima the most enjoyable king-size cigarette because it's extra mild. I agree, it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
And so do more and more smokers every day. Actual figures show extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
The king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
The best of all long cigarettes.
Monday, December 26th, 9 a.m. We checked Tony Perez through R&I. He had a record of 7 arrests, but no convictions. During the past year, he'd been booked on suspicion of 211 PC, assault with intent to do great bodily harm, and second-degree burglary. In each instance, he'd been released for lack of evidence. All of his shoes and clothing were brought to the crime lab for examination. 9:25 a.m. We brought Perez back to the interrogation room. He admitted that he had been with Maria Camacho Christmas Eve, but he denied having anything to do with her killing. He told us that after he had left Maria, he'd gone to a party at some friend's house. Dave and Claudio went out to check his story. I gave them the key found near the body and asked them to try it on the door to Perez's hotel room. Ben and I continued to question the suspect.
How well did you know Maria Camacho, Tony?
I told you already. She was just some old crow who used to hang around the bars, that's all. I used to talk to her once in a while.
You ever have any arguments with her?
No. How many times you going to ask me that?
It would help a lot if you could tell us exactly where you left Maria Christmas Eve and when you left her.
I told you already. I don't remember exactly. We were drinking. We were all drinking. I don't remember.
How'd you get to that party?
I walked. Place down on Malabar Street. Maria stopped at a bar someplace along the way, and that's the last time I saw her.
Did you go in with her?
No, she went in alone. I went to the party. That's all I know.
Interrogation room Friday.
Lee Jones, Joe.
Yeah.
Check the polish on Perez's boots. It matches with the smear of polish on the victim's face. Wax components are exactly the same.
Good. How about the cast?
Nope, they didn't match. The prints we cast out there were size 11, big heel. Perez wears a 9, pretty small heel. No match at all.
What about the other stuff?
Went over the rest of his shoes, his clothes. Nothing that ties in.
Okay, Lee. Thank you. Do you shine your own boots, Tony?
No. Why?
Where do you get them shined?
I go to Angelo's, Chicago Street, right near First.
When's the last time you got a shine?
Oh, Christmas Eve.
What time Christmas Eve, Tony?
When I got off work, about 2 in the afternoon.
Hi. Hi, Dave.
See one of you outside a minute?
Yeah.
Perez telling the truth about the party. He was there. We timed out how long it had taken to walk from the restaurant to the party.
Yeah?
Pretty close. His friends say he got to the party about 12:30. Doesn't look like he had time to kill that woman.
Well, where does that leave us?
Still got those boots?
No, no more. They don't match the impressions at the murder scene.
Well, that makes us even.
Huh?
Here's your key back. Didn't fit.
Tony Perez was held for further investigation. Dave and Claudio took up the canvassing of bars in the same area where we'd left off the night before. Ben and I drove down to Angelo's Shine Stand. It stood just outside a barber shop. 4 chairs with an awning full of cigarette holes over them. He identified Maria Camacho's picture immediately. We questioned him while he polished her shoes.
Maria, I used to tell her, Sergeant, running around like that, she had so many friends. Too many.
Did you see Maria on Christmas Eve, Angelo?
Christmas Eve? Well, let me see. No, last time was a few days before Christmas.
Angelo, do you know a man by the name of Tony Perez?
Tony? Sure. Tony Perez. Tall fella, big shoulder.
Was he one of your customers?
Yeah, all the time he comes to see me.
Was he here on Christmas Eve, Angelo?
Yeah, he was here. I gave him a shine. Good customer.
You remember what kind of shoes he had on?
Sure. Boots. He always wears boots.
What color were they, do you know?
Brown. Always wears brown boots. Well, what's the matter? Tony in trouble?
What kind of polish do you use on his boots, Angelo?
Well, I got the can down here. Yeah, this one here. High-grade polish. If you got boots, I can fix them up.
Do you use the same polish on all the boots you shine, Angelo?
Oh, only the brown boots. That's brown polish. You fellas ask too many questions. You make me go too slow.
Well, there's no rush, Angelo. Can you tell me this?
Yeah?
Besides Tony Perez, was there anybody else with brown boots who got a shine from you Christmas Eve?
Well, I don't know. Lots of people get shine. Christmas Eve is pretty busy.
Just the people with brown boots, Angelo. Can you remember?
No, I don't think so. Tony was the only one with the brown boots. There's no others.
And how about heavy brown shoes?
Huh?
Can you remember the people with heavy brown shoes that came in for a shine?
No, I don't know. Look, please, just let me shine your shoes, huh?
That can of brown polish, Angelo, you say that's the kind you use on Tony Perez's boots?
Yeah, that's the kind. This kind right here.
Well, can you remember how many times you used that polish on Christmas Eve?
Well, I opened this can that morning and see how much is gone. Maybe I use it, maybe half a dozen times.
Can you remember the people whose shoes call for this kind of polish?
Yeah, lots of them. Brown shoes. I know the feet when I see them. I don't know the faces.
Don't you remember any of them?
If they like the shine, maybe by and by they come back. There were 3 or 4 fellas, maybe. I see them before. I don't know their names. Okay, finished. You like it to shine?
Oh, yeah, fine.
Say, I'm going to buy that can of polish from you, Angelo, and we're going to check back with you later.
Okay. Here it is. That's fine polish, Sergeant. Best you can get.
Yeah, but it rubs off. December 26th, 5 p.m. We drove back to the crime lab and had Lee Jones analyze the can of shoe polish. It matched exactly with the particles of shoe polish taken from the victim's body and from the boots of Tony Perez. We arranged for a stakeout at Angelo's shine stand. In case the people with heavy brown shoes returned, Angelo could point them out immediately to the men on duty. 5:30 p.m. Dave and Claudio called in. They thought they had another nibble, this time from the bartender at the El Cedello Tavern, a bar on Soto Street. We drove down to South Main and Harlem Place for a meet.
Hi, Dave.
Hi. Figured we'd better move on this tonight.
What's the pitch?
Bartender on Soto tipped me that Maria Camacho was in his place Christmas Eve. Said it was a little after midnight.
Huh?
Said she had a drink, left the place about 10 minutes past 12 with a guy called Frank Tolano. Nosed around, found Miss Tolano works at the Midnight Mission. Over there.
All right, let's go.
This it, Dave?
Yeah. Good friends mission.
Come in for a nice, warm, spiritual bath. Coffee and soup free.
Watch the stairs.
Yeah.
Now, brothers, I only hope that our little meeting here has brought you closer and made your souls to glow with the great and glorious light of the Spirit. And yes, brothers, if we be not born again of that light, as the book says, we'll be damned, brothers. Damned. Amen.
Amen.
Now, brothers, while Sister Myrtle Ferguson plays one of her stirring marches, let's join arms, brother to brother, and march into the lunchroom where, through the kind graces of one of our benefactors, Pete Boudouris of the Acropolis Cafe, each one of you will be entitled to a bowl of turkey soup, some of Sister Wilson's homemade bread, and a cut of mince pie. Sister Ferguson, march.
Guess that's the man to see.
Yeah, let's go.
Sure pack them in, don't they?
That soup smells real good.
Excuse me, sir?
Yes, brother? What is it?
Police officers. Do you have a Frank Tolano working here?
Well, what's the trouble?
Does he work here?
Well, yes, he's a very good man, Frank. Anything wrong?
Is he here now?
No, he isn't.
Where can we find him?
Well, I'd like to know what the trouble is.
We'd like to talk to him, mister, that's all.
Well, he has a room at Good Friends Mission Annex. That's over on San Pedro Street.
Is that his permanent residence, the Mission Annex?
Yes, Frank's very helpful. He works for a small salary, and we give him room and board.
Is he over at the annex now?
Yep, but maybe you'd better not see him now, officer.
Why not?
Well, Frank's not at his best. He's been drinking again. That's the surest sign.
How do you mean?
Well, whenever Frank starts drinking, that means that he's worrying. He's one of those. He drinks to forget.
Yeah.
He's been drinking for 3 days.
He must have a lot to forget. Come on. 6:30 p.m. We drove over to the Good Friends Mission Annex on San Pedro Street. The man in charge told us that Tolano had a small room to himself at the rear of the second floor. Dave and Claudio went around to cover the mission annex from the back. Ben and I went up a narrow flight of wooden stairs. The plain white plaster walls were chipped and cracked and scrawled with pencil markings. We walked down to the end of a wide hallway to a brown paneled door with a transom above it. There was a man in soiled work clothes sitting on the bed. On the table next to him, there were 3-quart wine bottles. 2 of them were empty.
Get out of here. You Frank Tolano? What about it?
Police officers like to talk to you.
Get out of here. You're not taking me. I'll cut you to pieces.
Drop the bottle, Tolano.
Get out of here.
Drop the bottle.
I'll cut you to pieces.
Like you cut Maria.
I'll kill you.
Put it down, Tolano. Drop it. Get the cuffs on.
Yeah. Let's go.
Just a minute. Yeah, it fits.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On March 7th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 94, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to extra mild Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, Extra Mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the king-size cigarette that is extra mild.
Extra mild because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give it a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Enjoy Extra Mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Frank Dominic Tolano was tried and convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life imprisonment. He is now serving his term in the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Patty Page visits Jack Birch tomorrow morning on NBC.
My name's Regan. I get 10 a day in expenses from a detective bureau run by a guy named Anthony J. Lyon. They call me the Lion's Eye.
With Jack Webb as Jeff Regan, the Lion's Eye, stand by for hard-boiled action and mystery and thrilling adventure in tonight's story of the guy from Gower Gulch.
It's a gray building, about the color of moldy bread. It's an apartment house in the middle of Hollywood, and it figures that the guy who built it quit voting when they named the street it sits on, Taft Avenue. My place is furnished with war surplus from the Spanish-American War. Well, it's got a hat rack, and that's where I live, number 308. In back, where you get a view and some fresh air from the alley. One's about as bad as the other. But I got it fixed up kind of nice. Hot plate, coffee pot, an autographed picture of Sally Rand that somebody left there. Only mistake I made was putting in a telephone. It spoils a lot of things.
Regan, Mr. Lyon, wake up. We got a job.
Why don't you sleep at night?
Lucky for you, I got insomnia. We go broke.
Try Ovaltine. What kind of a job?
How should I know? Get your clothes on.
What are you doing, reading the want ads?
I got a note from a client.
You mean you got money?
$100 is all. Says he'll match it if we run him an errand.
Where to? Santa Ana Canyon?
He'll tell you.
You know, if you got morals like a cash register, can he write his name?
Davy Crockett. He's 50 years old.
Well, he's a little old for cowboys and Indians, isn't he?
That's his name, Davy Crockett.
Well, when's the wagon train pull out?
Regan, I don't know how I stand for you. Get over there.
Get where?
Listen, a guy works pretty hard. Building up a business like I have takes a lot out of him.
You got plenty on tap.
I just want you to understand, that's all. Money doesn't grow on trees. Now, sometimes you gotta play your hunches.
Like George Gallup.
This time I got a feeling the guy's okay. He writes like a gentleman, Regan. I want you to treat him like one.
Well, where do I find him?
He's in a location can give us a lot of business.
Where?
The city jail.
Yeah, that's the Lion. Born under the sign of the dollar. Well, it happened on Monday night, and I found the Lincoln Heights jail looking real tired after a rough weekend. They were putting fresh creosote on the walls in front of the drunk tank, and the guy at the desk looked like he'd burst his radiator if anybody phoned for another reservation. It was about 1 a.m., but after a couple of jokes I know about alligators, Sergeant Gonzalez hauled out a drawer with some cards in it. Under C, he found it. Full name, David Crockett, cell 273, solitary. Gonzalez walked me through a couple of quarters, and then he opened his cell and let me inside. Davy Crockett was there, awake and standing up. He was about 4 feet high, skinny, with a head like a sunburned turnip. He had blue veins roaming all over his nose and a handlebar mustache to hold him up. He looked at me like I was holding the fifth ace.
Howdy, stranger.
My name's Regan, International Detective Bureau.
How do I know? Start anything and I'll set up a racket.
Now, I work for the Lion. You called him.
Maybe yes, maybe no. You got credentials?
Where do you want him?
Easy, son. Not talking to an amateur. Flyweight champion, Buenos Aires, 29. Grab yourself a squat, partner.
All right. What are you so nervous about?
Nothing. Precautious, that's all.
All right, look, let's start at the beginning, shall we? What are you locked up for?
Fire plug. Got him in the dangest places in this burg.
What'd you do, steal it for your dog?
No. Parked my landlady's car alongside it while I ran an errand.
You don't get jugged for traffic tickets.
There were 2 cops. Looked like a posse. I don't like injustice.
All right, resisting arrest, is that all?
What more do you want? Told you I'm not a man to be trampled with. Taught judo in Tokyo, 34.
The Japs still lost the war.
Sit still, Regan. You're working.
On what?
Well, it's just another errand. It's not much.
Well, come on, let's pick up the tempo, will you? My bicycle's double parked.
Say, you ever get saddle sores on a bicycle? I did once. 8-day race.
Yeah, I know. Now, what about this errand?
Little package wrapped up in a sweater. In the alley by the ash can.
Go on.
I calculate I dropped it about 3.5 feet to the left of the big ash can.
By accident?
Man can't fight with his hands full. I wrote down the address for you here.
All right. What's in that sweater you didn't want the cops to see?
A polecat.
That fits the rest of your story, yeah.
Son, there's nothing in the life of Davy Crockett won't stand inspection. When you get the package, check it in at the Union Station.
And then what?
Save me the stub. You get 100.
Save it for bail. You could do this job yourself.
Thought I told you, Sonny. I'd like to be lonesome.
So you had him lock you up on purpose?
No, I just like it here. You want a reference? Check any of the boys in Gower Gulch.
Movie cowboy, huh?
Laddie, you're looking at the greatest jockey since Paul Revere. Eddie Sand to Eddie Arcaro. I beat them all. Kentucky Downs, 39.
Yeah, sure. Well, a job's a job, Davy, but I got a hot tip where I fit in.
Where's that?
Trailing the field. Well, I left the little man running his fingers through an old copy of Variety, and I went out into the street. It was about 3 o'clock, and a truck was throwing some water out and giving the gutter a shampoo. I picked up my car and started out to play retriever. That's when I spotted the blonde tailing me. She was using a 37 Packard, and the top was down. I could see her in the mirror. I could tell she had yellow hair like a rag doll. It took a few fast turns to get rid of her, but then I was solo when I pulled to a stop by the alley off Gower. It was in back of some old movie studios. About then, a drunk came pouring down the street, did a loop around a fire plug at the head of the alley, and sat down. He was the talented kind, and I figured he thought I was Arthur Godfrey. Well, I scrambled over some broken beer bottles looking for the sweater. It finally showed, lying beside a pack of newspaper and some dame's torn petticoat. That's when the drunk lost his tilt and began looking at me. I picked up an old shoe, I wrapped it in a newspaper, and I started out of the alley. The drunk went back to his audition, moving toward me.
Marie, the dawn is breaking. Marie, you'll soon be waking. Hiya, friend. Have a drink.
That's not my brand.
Don't be a mug. A little drink between friends is real nice.
Well, we haven't been introduced.
My name's Maxwell. What's yours?
Slipped my mind.
That's the trouble with the whole world. No fellowship. Except for my girl, Marie. You know Marie?
No, I don't.
Sort of short and plump with a little sinus trouble.
It's too bad.
Thought you might have met her. Lots of fellowship in that girl. Every time you look, another fella.
All right, move it, buddy.
Now, you don't want to get by me, friends. You want to stand right there and have a little drink.
You got the subject we're going to talk about?
Yeah, sure. Here's what's in the package?
Dirty laundry.
Ain't that funny, though? I just got me a new Bendix.
Why don't you go into business?
That's what I'm going to do. You're my first customer.
No, I lux my dainties.
Yeah, don't go away, friend. I ain't through with my sales talk.
Well, hire a skywriter.
Hold up, I say.
Get your hands off of me.
All right, Regan, the round's over.
Yeah, what makes you the referee?
This does.
Friend here wants to play rough, Red.
Reconsider, Regan. It'll make you happy.
All right, what do you want?
The package.
You heard what he said, smart guy.
Why don't you work for it?
Grab him, Max. Don't leave, Regan. We're not finished.
I got the package, Red.
Give him a tip for picking it up.
Sure.
Oh.
Guess I overpaid him.
Well, it was easy to see it was their play. I had about as much chance as a midget in a basketball game. The muscles ambled off with the package that they took from me, and I crawled back for that sweater. It was still there, wrapped around something hard and round. And when I ripped it off, a shine caught my eye. It was a metal can of movie film, and the word Peru was marked on it. Not much for all the hush-hush, but it must have had a story. Well, I looked up a friend of mine who owned a camera shop, and I made a commotion with a $5 bill. I shook the sand out of him, and he rented me a projector with sound. The Lyons house was the next stop. We threw up a sheet on the wall and turned on the film. That completed the night. We had a trip to a good neighbor without a passport. Turned out to be a Joan Fitzpatrick giving us some kind of a travelogue.
The most colorful in the world. A temple of worship. Home of Peru, 2,000 years old.
Well, stop screaming, will you? It's free.
You know I can't stand movies. I got sore eyes.
All right, shut up and listen to this.
New Peru, the marketplace. A street vendor dressed in gay native costumes, selling delicacies to Peruvian children. Beads and jewels of exquisite beauty wrought by the hands of master Peruvian artisans. Horse racing and innovations from the modern world. And native dance.
I'm going to bed.
You won't sleep. I stole your eyeshade.
Oh, Regan, I got to get up early. I got lots to do.
It'll keep.
A veritable symphony of motion. And so, it's with heavy heart we say adieu to lovely Peru, land of the Peruvians, land of charm and enchantment. And with the setting sun, we take our leave.
Well, what'd you get out of it?
A headache.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in the morning.
No, I can't wait.
What you doing now?
I'm phoning the city jail.
Looking for a room?
Looking for information. Davey will supply it.
You've been drinking.
Now listen, big shot. Somebody's after this film for some reason. I'm going to find it.
City Jail, Sergeant Gonzalez speaking.
Danny's Regan.
Oh, hiya, Regan. I'm glad you called. I just got that joke about the alligators.
Now, well, do me a favor, will you?
Sure, pal, sure. See, I told it to the lieutenant. He's still laughing. You know, it may earn me a promotion, pal.
Let me talk to Davy Crockett.
Oh, I can't do that, Regan.
Well, you can say I'm his lawyer.
Well, it's not that, pal. He's not here anymore.
What do you mean?
Some guy bailed him out 20 minutes ago. When I was telling the lieutenant the joke, this guy in the briefcase comes in, slaps down the bail. Out walks your friend.
Well, he said he liked it there.
And Davey must have changed his mind.
Where'd he go?
Not very far. Just over to the morgue.
Well, the cowboy from Gower Gulch had spun his last yarn. Gonzalez told me that somebody had shot Crockett as soon as he hit the street. Oh, none of this made sense. The phony job, the blonde who tailed me, the fight in the alley, the corny movie. Well, the lion shoved the film in a desk, and I went out the door. I cut across his yard, but I stopped on the opposite sidewalk. My car wasn't alone. There was a 40-foot nag sniffing at its rear fender.
Hey, Regan.
Well, Maxwell,
That's me.
you look different. Did you take the cure?
Shut up. Somebody wants to see you.
If it's Marie, tell her my book's full.
Thought you might like a lift.
No, I got a friend who runs a streetcar, and I go on, beat it.
Regan, don't be that way.
Offer him a panatella, Maxwell.
Who's this, your father-in-law?
You smoke, Regan?
No, it might explode.
Yes.
So long.
Hold it, Buster. Get in.
Oh, Max. Max, I told you before, you're on probation.
That's all right. Don't pick on him, teacher. He didn't hurt me.
Get in front, Max.
Sure.
Where's your other boy, Red? We could play some bridge.
I thought he'd do better in the shoe business.
The one I gave him didn't fit, huh?
I'm a much misunderstood man, Mr. Regan. I'm sure you'll put your best foot forward.
I'd love to.
My card, Horace Grundy. Sometime earlier, a little man called me, Mr. Regan. Custer or Boone or...
Davy Crockett?
Of course. I want you to understand I get many such calls.
Party line.
It's a private number, but the salesmen bother me anyway.
Well, it's tough to be popular. Davy tell you what he was selling?
No.
Well, he didn't tell me either.
Have it your own way. When I told him I'd meet him, he said he'd arranged to get out of jail. He said all he wanted was a job.
And he got one.
Yes, only there's no future to it. I wouldn't want anything like that happening to you, Mr. Regan.
I'll renew my insurance.
No, you'll come with me. It's more friendly.
Suppose I don't like to talk.
You won't have to, if everything goes all right.
Well, it's your taxi.
And you're paying the fare. All right, Maxwell. Cloverfield.
I never knew a guy could say the name of an airport and make it sound like Forest Lawn. Grundy sat in the corner checking the manicure on his fingernails, and Maxwell drove out Olympic. By the time we skidded into Clover, I'd figured absolutely nothing. It was still only 4 a.m., but there was a string of cars parked in the lot. I spotted a 37 Packard Roadster, but I was too busy getting rushed up onto the field to look for the blonde. Besides, the faster we ran, the more excited Grundy got. And then we rounded a hangar, and the reporters hit us.
Say, Louis B's pretty sore, huh?
No. Louis B and I are friends. Just his plugs are burned. Put it through, boys.
Hey, wait a second. This Julio who's traveling on the plane. They say he wants $250,000. You're going to pay him today?
After I see a workout. Come on, Regan, let's go.
Yeah, you're a real big man, Grundy.
I'm going to be, Regan. El Romano, best rep of any horse in South America.
So that's it, huh? Where the ruins come from.
What's that?
Peru?
Oh, sure. Peruvian National Airways gave Julio a special plane. Everything special.
Like in the movies. Well, look, suppose you watch him unload. I'll take a back seat here.
Oh, no, Regan. This is a big day. I want you to see what's the ambulance for.
Well, don't look at me.
Stick around, Regan. It could be you.
Hey, get that stretcher over there.
Oh, he kicked me, hit me.
It's Julio.
That's the guy who owns him?
Must be.
I tried to hold him. Behold, the black hole, my rib.
Take it easy, boy. We got you.
What happened?
Bounce. The landing she is rough, that is all. Where is the doctor?
You're going to the hospital. Lie down.
I'm broken in 6 places.
Lift up the stretcher. Come on, boys. Hurry it up.
Oh, he kicked me. Move fast, boys. Yes, hot.
Hey, Mr. Grundy, the horse!
Well, the guy on the plane started to yell just about the time they took Julio toward the rear of the ambulance. Grundy took a dive for the cargo door, and so did everybody else. Then I had to stand there while 6 feet of big shot cigar turned into a crybaby.
Look, Regan. Look at the horse's leg. He's kicked himself.
Okay, so he's clumsy.
But he might not run again. He was going to be mine, Regan.
That's too bad. Call a vet.
I have already paid $50,000 retainer on the horse, Regan.
I'll send you a lawyer.
I got an idea you're connected with this.
Oh, dry up, Buster. It's an accident.
Yeah? I got an idea there's going to be another accident.
Grundy, maybe you're right.
Go!
Hey, stop him! I didn't wait to see if he went down. Maxwell swung, but I took off through the crowd. It figured that Cloverfield wasn't for me, and I wasn't going to stick around for the daisies. And then I spotted a ride, the rear end of Julio's ambulance. I made it just as the buggy started to move. pulled the door shut and tried not to step on that stretcher inside. I shouldn't even have bothered that. The stretcher was empty. The only patient was me.
You are listening to the story of the guy from Gower Gulch. Tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Commissions are still available in the Army Nurse Corps Reserve. Graduate registered nurses between the ages of 21 and 45 may qualify for service with this fine organization. If you are interested in joining the Army Nurse Corps and believe that you qualify for a commission, apply to the Adjutant General, Washington, D.C. And now, back to Jeff Regan, Investigator, and the story of the guy from Gower Gulch.
Well, things were beginning to move like a hula dancer with a hot foot. Davy Crockett sent me out to pick up a roll of movie film. A Joan Fitzpatrick travelogue on beautiful Peru. There was something in it that was hot, but Crockett got himself plugged before he could say what it was. There were shots of a horse race in Peru. And when a big buster named Grundy turns up buying a nag from a Peruvian breeder, I figured a connection, so did I. When the horse got hurt and Julio did a disappearing act with his money, everybody looked at me. That's when I took the shortest way to Hollywood in an ambulance, got my car, and made it for home. Only parked up the street from my apartment was that same 37 Packard Roadster I'd been dodging all evening. The blonde wasn't in it. She was sitting in my place looking real hopeful.
Good evening. You keep late hours, Mr. Regan.
That's the kind of friends I've got.
Perhaps you ought to change them.
I'll stick it out. What do you want?
A little chance to talk to you.
It'll keep till morning.
Oh, but Mr. Regan, I've been waiting so long, you've got to talk to me now.
Why?
I'm Davy Crockett's wife. You've got something that belongs to me.
I don't see any wedding ring.
I don't wear one.
Scare off the other boys?
That's not a very nice remark, Mr. Regan.
No, but you'll let it go.
Only because it's not important.
Oh, stop it. You're not Davy's wife. If the little guy had anybody he could trust, he wouldn't have had to call him a lion.
All right, Mr. Regan. I lied.
Now, let's have it, lady. What are you after?
A roll of film.
That figures.
It's mine.
Convince me.
Mr. Regan, you're becoming very annoying.
Well, why don't you call the police?
But I tell you, it is mine.
Let's see the pink slip.
And so it is with heavy heart we bid adieu
That's
to...
enough. Yeah. I thought I knew that voice.
Davy stole the roll from my library. Now may I have it back?
Homicide will turn it over to you when they're ready.
I can't wait.
Well, what makes it so valuable?
I'm not sure.
And how do you know it is?
Because I'm not stupid, Mr. Regan. Somebody goes to a lot of trouble to break into my film library. But he only steals one roll of film.
Go on.
I put the police on Davy, follow them to the jail. So you go after the film. That adds up to pretty important business.
Did you push those holes in Davy?
Of course not.
Yeah, you're going to get a chance to prove that when Homicide starts speaking in your cupboard.
About the film, I'll buy it from you.
No sale. There's the door, lady. Use it. I threw the light switch and grabbed for the floor. When the noise stopped, I looked up. My landlady was going to be mad. The shots plowed a few holes into her flower pot. The blonde turned a couple of different colors and decided she could find safer company. She left for the fire escape without even goodbye. Well, I headed for the Lions. The idea being to make sure that he'd turn that film over to the police and advertise that I didn't have it anymore. That figured to cool me off and I could catch some sleep again. When I got there, the Lion looked kind of excited. He was wrapped up in a silk robe with red and gray stripes, and he carried a drink to match. He was holding a piece of that movie film up to the light.
Hey, Regan, I've been calling all over for you. Where you been?
I'm looking for a bed.
I don't pay you to sleep. You're on a job. Now, I've been thinking since you left. We're handling this wrong.
Yeah, now that's what I figured. Get on the phone.
What for?
To tell Homicide you got a package for him. You're turning over that film right now.
Easy.
You heard me, big shot. I'm tired of playing the fall guy.
Now, Regan, you don't know what you're saying. I've been running over the section on that Peruvian horse race. And you know what?
You picked the winner.
And we're going to collect.
Who's making book?
The insurance company.
Well, come on, clear it up.
Look at this clip.
Yeah.
Well, what do you see? What do you see?
Looks like a horse.
But look at him. He's way out in front. El Romano.
Yeah, maybe.
Now, here's the way I add it up. This film tells a story, or everybody wouldn't be grubbing around for it.
Well, now, that takes a big brain.
So somebody's engineering a phony.
Who?
That's what you're going to find out. But I'll tell you one thing. That nag's insured by Banner Trust, and they pay off big if we can turn up the swindle.
All right. Give me that picture.
Where you going?
Over to Grundy's to check the horse.
Now you're talking, Regan. You dig that out and we'll be eating squab.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you'll be collecting your unemployment insurance.
Yeah, well, payoff's about the same. I didn't like it any better than a fan dancer likes a wind tunnel. I'd already seen enough of Grundy and his boys for one night, but when the lion gets an idea, he's like a hangman with a new rope. So I went out to test it. I found Horace Grundy's place. It was a bright new house in the San Fernando Valley. There was some fancy fence in back, and a stable looked like the paint was still wet where it said El Romano. A trailer was parked on the road with a truck from the veterinarians. When Grundy opened the front door, it looked like he'd been sitting a 3-day wake, but without any beer.
Hello, Regan.
Well, what's the verdict?
It's bad, Regan. Bad. Tendons torn. Never run. Never.
Yeah, you said that.
I can't believe it.
Uh-huh. I knew somebody else liked animals. A guy from Gower Gulch.
Decided to talk?
Maybe. If you keep your hands in the audience.
What else did Crockett say?
Now you got him on the wheel.
All right, you drive.
That's better. You know the horse is insured?
Not by me, it isn't.
You don't own it. You just paid a deposit.
Sure, 50 G's.
You got it back yet?
There's plenty of time. Julia was in the hospital.
Oh? Well, now, if it wasn't for the accident, you would have coughed up another $200,000.
Yes. No. Oh, what difference does it make? The whole deal's a bust now.
What if that horse is a phony?
Say some more, Regan.
I don't know much more. Davy Crockett was a movie fan.
You're doing fine. You had pictures?
I wouldn't advertise them, but there's a shot of a horse winning a race. Take a look here.
Give me that.
All right, it's economy size. You're going to ruin your eyesight.
I got a magnifying glass for my income tax.
Now, let's get a light behind it. Now, let's see.
Horse.
You get a star.
4 white feet.
I can do that well myself.
Listen, Regan. Horse in the stable's got 3.
That does it. My boss gets promoted.
Come on outside. I'll show you.
I'll take your word for it. Let go of me. I got my information.
Maxwell, where are you?
I told you, don't whistle the bulldogs.
You're in it now, Regan. You're on my side.
I drop your blood pressure. There's a handkerchief on the plate.
Hey, wait. Hello. I look for somebody. Good morning.
Pan America.
Si, I'm Julio. Is Mr. Grundy?
It's the guy with his mouth open there.
How do you do? I'm so glad to meet and
talk.
Chogat. Okay?
You switch horses.
No, you'll not understand. El Romano, he kicked me.
Wait for the encore.
Mr. Grundy, with belief, I'm telling you.
Now, look, you better make it fast, Julio. This guy goes
Shut
off.
up, Regan. A man trades a stretcher for a slab. Let him talk.
The hospital. I did not go. Julio is honest. A debt comes first.
The interest's going up.
When El Romano hurts himself, I know the deal is off. I know I must see the consul, so we cash the check.
What?
Here we are. 10,000, 20, 30, 40, 50. Your down payment is up. Now we are one big happy United Nations, no?
Well, that's what happened. Now there were 2 guys with their mouths open. By the time we got them closed, the little gent from Peru had waddled off someplace, and Grundy folded his money and started to laugh. He was happy, and at least I had what I came for. Figured I could dump the whole plate of spaghetti on the lion. The lead horse in the travelogue was a different nag from the one in the stable. So I got in my car and headed for home. But I picked up a newspaper on the corner, and then the whole bucket turned upside down again. The green sheet was loaded with publicity shots of El Romano from South America, and he was exactly the same oat burner that came in on the plane, feet and all. No switch there. Well, there was something phony in this act. It was that winner in that Fitzpatrick film. Well, for a minute I felt like a test pilot in a yo-yo factory, and then the string broke. I took a fast run to the Lions and one more look at those movies. I had it. The case was beginning to wind. 10 minutes later, I was back on Gower Gulch.
Yes? Who is it?
Regan, you alone?
Don't be insulting.
I'll open the door. What's the matter? You're slow.
What do you want?
Ask me in.
No.
Ask me in.
Regan, look out!
Be careful, Regan. I have a gun.
Well, Julio.
Yes, Julio.
Uh-huh. What are you doing here?
Well, I told you.
I know. Back at my place, you're aiming at her, not me. She's been to Peru. She has the films. You knew that.
You whistle like I know it.
I go to the movies like everybody else. I keep my eyes on the winner. After Hollywood Park, I should have known better.
Yeah, there are lots of races.
El Romano was a dud. He came in last. 60 lengths with Davy Crockett digging in the spurs. You gave the nag a build-up. Phony publicity to sucker an insurance company.
$250,000 I was over.
Can it? You could have never closed a sale without Grundy watching a workout. That would have been a slow boat to China.
You want to be a sailor, too?
Oh, stop being tough, will you? You wore yourself out when you kicked up El Romano in that plane.
It looked good.
Yeah, not to me or Joan.
Look out, Regan. You're asking for a daily double.
Well, I'm going to take it across the board. Give me that gun.
Leave me
Stop
alone.
it.
No, you're breaking my arm.
That's the idea.
I'll kick you in the stomach.
You better go back to his stretcher.
Well,
Yeah.
my, you can be useful.
Well, when I'm working.
What about after hours? I'm not bad, you know.
No, I never noticed.
Look again.
No, I'm all through with the ponies.
Want a bet?
Davy Crockett told me to play my hunches.
Here I am.
Yeah, but you're a loser.
What do you mean?
You threw those holes into Davy.
It was Julio.
Oh, you're trying real hard, but he was on the plane.
What do I do now?
Well, you might bid a fondue to Gower Gulch.
That's not funny, Regan.
I know it. But you ran out of film. Well, the whole thing blew up like a hoop skirt in a high wind. Julio had a real good thing until he ran into the little man with a good memory and a dame with a fast trigger finger. Her blackmail pitch was already set up, but Davy figured to queer it, so she had to knock him off. Well, the hospital boys came after Julio, and homicide dated Joan, the travel queen. The Lion was pretty excited about the way things worked out. He figured that the insurance company would come across with some green stuff for exposing a fraud. They did. That was the color of the season pass they gave him to the Burton Holmes travel lectures.
Jack Webb is featured as Jeff Regan with Herb Butterfield as Anthony J. Lyon. It's CBS at the same time next week for more hard-boiled action and mystery with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Written by Larry Roman and Jackson Gillis, produced by Sterling Tracy. Included in tonight's cast were Leo Clary, Clayton Post, Yvonne Patey, Ed Begley, and Herb Ellis. 29,000 nurses are needed to join the new Army Nurse Corps Officers Reserve. For the first time in history, qualified nurses have the opportunity of receiving commissions in the regular Army Reserve. These nurses will remain on inactive status, ready to serve their country in time of emergency. 4,000 of them, if they wish, may choose active duty. All nurses who receive commissions will benefit from the opportunity for specialized training offered to them by the Army. Inactive reserve status will not interfere with the nurse's civilian life, but the educational opportunities offered her by the Army Medical Department will be of a great advantage in her work. Don't wait. If you're a registered graduate nurse between the ages of 21 and 45, drop a card for complete information to the Adjutant General, Washington, D.C. Original music for this program is by Milton Charles, Bob Stevenson speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Ladies and gentlemen, we suggest that you pay particular attention to an important announcement, which will be given at the end of tonight's program.
The story you're about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to Personnel Division. A resident of your city files a report of robbery and assault. The suspect, a rookie police officer. Your job, arrest him.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, transcribed in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, April 9th. It was foggy in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of personnel. My partner's Ben Romero, the boss's deputy chief Holman, commander BIA. My name's Friday. We're on the way over from the city hall, and it was 5:25 p.m. when we got to Central Division. The assembly room.
How's the wife?
See him, Joe? Yeah, it looks like him over there.
I'll let you know.
Hi. You Russell Clark?
Yeah, that's right.
Friday and Romero personnel.
All right.
Lieutenant Drummond over at BIA would like to talk to you.
All right. When do you want to see me?
Right now.
Okay. We're looking for Cap. Okay, let's go. What do they want to see me about, you know?
Drummond will tell you.
Okay.
How long you been on the job, Clark?
About 2.5 months.
How do you like it?
Oh, I like it fine. Wife doesn't think much of it. She wanted me to stay at my old job.
What was that?
Selling insurance. Likes to have me home nights. Doesn't like to be alone, especially now.
Yeah?
She's expecting me in a couple of months. You know how they get.
Yeah. Let's cross here.
Hey, I put in a request for day work. Do you think that's why personnel wants to see me?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Boy, I'd sure like to get that day watch.
Yeah.
Is that the way you fellas started?
I did, yeah. You started in traffic, didn't you, Ben?
Yeah, Had 9 months of it. Go ahead, Clark.
Oh, thanks. I have to be on the job at 6. Think this going to take very long?
I don't know.
Hi, Friday.
Hi.
Right in. Lieutenant's waiting.
Personnel, Coleman.
Lieutenant?
Yeah, come here.
This is Officer Clark, Lieutenant Drummond.
How do you do, sir?
Oh, hey, Clark. Sit down.
Thanks.
Couple of questions for you.
Yes, sir?
You were on special duty at the Olympic Auditorium last night, is that right?
Yes, sir, for the fights.
Anything unusual happen out there last night?
Well, it wasn't very important, Lieutenant. After the fights, the drunk fell down the stairs. On the way out of the auditorium, broke his arm. I took him to Georgia Street, and they took care of the arm, and I drove him home. He was pretty drunk.
Why didn't you book the man?
I didn't think it was necessary.
How long you been with the department, Clark?
2.5 months, sir.
Didn't you know he should have been booked for violation of 4127 ALAMC?
Well, the man was in pretty bad shape, Lieutenant. Broken arm. I guess I didn't think the law was that strict.
Law's there for a purpose. You decided to forget it, now you're in a mess, right up to your neck.
I don't understand.
You remember the name of that drunk you took care of last night?
Yes, sir. His name was Stacy. Lives out in West L.A. What's the matter, Lieutenant?
That drunk, Mr. Stacy, wants to file a complaint against you.
What for?
He claims you took him back to the auditorium, beat him up, broke his arm, and robbed him of $128.
Oh, he's crazy. He's lying. I didn't do that.
Got his word against yours, Clark. Facts seem to favor him.
But I can prove it. Well, there was at least a couple of dozen people around it. There was a doctor. He can tell you.
Maybe you better take it from the beginning, Clark. Exactly how did it happen?
It was right after the fights. I was on duty in the lobby, and I saw a bunch of people crowding around the foot of the stairs.
Yeah.
I went over to see what the trouble was, and they were looking at this man lying on the pavement. It was Stacy. A doctor was examining him.
This doctor, did he identify himself?
Yeah. I asked for his identification. He showed it to me. Gave me a card. He was a doctor, all right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, he told me that he'd seen Stacy fall down the stairs coming out of the auditorium. Said that Stacy had broken his left arm.
What'd you do then?
Well, the doc said it'd be okay to move him, so I helped him into my car and took him down to Georgia Street. He was so drunk he could hardly stand up. The attendants at Georgia Street took care of his arm. Well, they can tell you all about this.
Maybe, but they can't help you out as witnesses. You could have beaten up Stacy, robbed him, then taken him to Georgia Street.
But I didn't, Lieutenant. I tell you that Stacy's lying.
What'd you do when you left Georgia Street?
Well, I drove into Central and told them what happened. I told the watch commander I was going to drive this Stacy home, and he warned me about it. Guess I should have known better, but... Well, I swear to you that Stacy's lying.
You should have known better. Where'd you go after you left Central?
Well, I drove him home. On the way, he said he was hungry, so I stopped. I bought him a sandwich and some black coffee. Kept telling me what a nag his wife was, said he was afraid to go home.
Go on.
Well, when I got into his place, his wife started chewing me out. I just said goodnight and left.
That's it, huh?
That's it. So help me, that's exactly what happened.
Now, how about the doctor at the auditorium, the one who saw Stacy fall? Did you get his name and address?
Well, no, Lieutenant, I didn't. I didn't think it was necessary.
How about the crowd that was standing around? Did you spot anybody you know?
No, I didn't. They're just a bunch of people coming out of the fights.
Then you haven't got anyone to corroborate your story.
But all those people saw it. There must have been a couple of dozen of them.
What are their names?
Well, I don't know. All I know is I didn't beat him up and I didn't take his money. I tell you that Stacy's lying.
You could be lying. We got no proof either way.
I'm not lying, Lieutenant. I didn't do it.
We might believe you, Clark. That doesn't make any difference. If this man files a 211 against you, it's got to be settled in court.
But I didn't do it. I tell you, I swear I didn't.
Just a minute. Mike, send in Mr. and Mrs. Stacy, will you? You can hear the story the way we get it from Stacy and his wife.
I'd like to hear it. I don't know why he's doing this to me. I helped him all I could.
Look, Jerry, there he is. That's the one.
Yeah, that's him, Chief.
Now, wait a minute, Mr. Stacy. What's this all about?
Hold it, Clark. Mr. Stacy, would you repeat the same story you told us this morning, please?
You know what I told you, Chief. You had the stenographer take it all down. It's the same thing.
I'd like to have you repeat it in front of Officer Clark here. He's entitled to know what you're charging him with.
Man like that's entitled to nothing. You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Look, lady, your husband's lying.
Don't call my husband a liar. You're not a policeman. You're a hoodlum.
All right, wait a minute.
I'd like to know what this city's coming to. Cops going around beating up private citizens. Who do we trust if we can't trust a policeman?
Just a minute, please.
You don't know, Captain. You should have seen my husband when that officer brought him home last night. Arm all bandaged, his face all cut up. He was hurt so bad he could hardly stand up.
He was too drunk to stand up, lady.
Don't you get fresh with me.
All right, that's enough.
This cop got hold of me as I was coming out of the fights. Took me in back of the auditorium. Told me if I didn't hand over my wallet, he'd book me on a drunk charge.
Were you drunk, Stacy?
I was not. Had a couple of beers, that's all. When I wouldn't give him my money, he beat me up. Broke my arm and took my wallet.
How do men like you ever get on the police force?
He figured he'd cover up, so he took me and had my arm fixed at the emergency hospital. Then he drove me home. Threatened me all the way. He said, you tell anybody about this and I'll get you. That's just what he said.
I don't get it, Stacy. You know that story's a pack of lies. Why are you doing this to me?
It's the truth. And I'm going to press charges and get my money back.
$128. What have you done with it?
We can take care of the questioning, Mrs. Stacy.
I don't see you doing it. Make him tell. Where's our money?
I haven't got it.
Don't talk back to me.
Mr. Stacy, you and your wife want to file a crime report at this time.
We want to press charges.
Romero?
Yeah?
Take Mr. and Mrs. Stacy down to Record Bureau, have them make out a report for 211 and assault.
Right. Get them this way, please.
Now, listen. We're going to get action if we have to take this to the district attorney. We're not afraid of the publicity. We'll go to the newspaper if we don't get action.
Yes, ma'am.
What's it, Clark?
They're lying. I can't prove it, but they're lying.
Well, you can see the position it puts us in. If you're innocent, we'll do all we can. If you're guilty, we'll see you get everything that's coming to you.
But they're lying. You know that.
Not up to us. The court's going to have to decide.
That's it.
That's it.
Well, there's no other way, Clark. We got 4,500 men in the department. We don't claim they're all saints. Once in a while, a bad cop comes along and pulls a caper, and all of us get a black eye. This book of rules is the only protection we got against that. By failing to enforce the law, you violated your duty as a police officer. Got yourself in a real mess, Clark. Like anybody else, you get a fair trial.
That mean I'm dropped from the force?
And those people have filed a crime report. Draw suspension pending the outcome of the case. After that, if you're cleared, there'll be a hearing before the Board of Rights.
Right through right now?
You'll be booked for robbery and assault and held in county jail. The case will be presented to the district attorney tomorrow.
What can I do?
I'll have to have your badge. On the desk. Your gun? ID card?
Yeah.
On the desk.
Yeah.
All right, Joe, that's it.
Okay.
Take him.
6 p.m. Ben returned to the office, and together we took Rookie Police Officer Russell Clark across the street to the Hall of Justice. At the county jail booking desk on the 12th floor, he was booked on suspicion of 211 PC and assault with intent to do great bodily harm. He was lodged in the cell block. Investigating charges against a police officer involves exactly the same procedure as cases where private citizens are concerned. Prove the suspect innocent or guilty. That's the job. If Clark was innocent, it looked like there was only one way of proving it. That was somehow to find the unnamed doctor who was supposed to have seen Stacy fall down the auditorium stairs and then examined him afterward. If Clark was guilty, we had to find proof that his story about Stacy falling downstairs was a lie. Besides that, we had to find evidence that he beat up Stacy at the rear of the auditorium that night and that he robbed him of $128. Thursday, April 10th, Ben and I checked in for work at 7:45 a.m. and found a message from the jailer on the phone board. Clark wanted to see us right away. We met with him in the county jail interview room.
How you doing? Not too bad.
Don't let it sour you, huh?
Sergeant, you really think I rolled that character? Come on, tell me the truth.
We checked you out. Good family. You got a fine Army record. No, we don't think you did it.
I just can't understand why he picked me up. I tried to help him all I could. Then he walks in the next day with a frame story like that.
You got any idea why Stacy would pull something like this on you?
I don't know. I'm worried, Sergeant. Believe me, I can't afford to sit here missing my pay. We live pretty close to the budget with a baby coming. I'm worried about the wife. I just don't know what to do.
Are you sure you told us everything about this that you remember?
Well, that's the one reason I wanted to see you. I didn't sleep much last night. I kept trying to remember the name of that doctor.
Yeah?
Well, I remember once he did mention his name, and then when I asked for his identification, he showed me one of his cards.
Any idea what his name was?
Well, I'm not sure, but as I remembered, it was some kind of a Swedish or Norwegian name, something like Johnson, Tollefson, something with a son on the end of it. It's on that card.
That doesn't narrow it down too much. Where is the card?
Well, I think I put his card in one of the pockets of my other uniform shirt. That's why I called you. I wonder if you could check that for me. It's at home.
Sure. Where do you live?
Out on Norwich Road, 411. It's right near the Coliseum.
411.
Yeah.
All right, we'll check it out for you.
Just ask the wife, will you? Card should be in one of the pockets.
Yeah, if you put it there. Ben and I left the interview room at the county jail and drove out to the home of Officer Clark on Norwich Road. We introduced ourselves to his wife and told her what we were after. Her eyes were red and looked like she'd been crying. She asked about her husband. We told her he was all right.
They're making a terrible mistake, Sergeant. Russ never did anything crooked in his life. He didn't do it. I know he didn't.
We'll do everything we can to straighten it out, Mrs. Clark. The court will have the final say.
I knew Russ shouldn't have left his insurance job. I just knew it, all this trouble.
How about that shirt that your husband told us about, the one he wore that night at the auditorium?
Oh, yes, his other uniform shirt.
Mm-hmm. Can we see it, please?
Oh, yes, certainly. It's right this way, back in bedroom. What's so important about the shirt, Sergeant?
Your husband told us that there might be a card in one of the pockets. Might help clear up things.
Well, it should be hanging up here in the closet. I always like to keep Russ's shirts on hangers. He keeps them much nicer looking.
What's the matter?
This morning I sent it to the cleaners.
Clark's wife, Ben, and I drove down to a dry cleaning shop a few blocks away where Mrs. Clark had left the shirt. The counter girl there told us that the truck had already been by that morning and picked up the day's cleaning. It was a store rule to check all garments for contents. She had found nothing. We got the address of the main plant, the Great Northern Dry Cleaners, a place down on Factory Street. 10:15 a.m. We checked in at the main plant and explained to the manager what we were after. We gave him the tag number of her cleaning, and Mrs. Clark gave him the description of the shirt. We waited in the manager's office while he made a search for the dark blue wool police shirt.
How about this one, lady? It's the only blue wool shirt picked up at your cleaners this morning.
Yes, that's Russ's shirt. That pocket's out there. I mended it.
I'll check the pockets for you. I had to pull it out of the tank. It's all wet.
Anything?
Not in this pocket. Try the other one.
Yeah?
Look for yourself.
Nothing.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation, presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of Northwest Airlines stewardess Jean Madsen. This is her actual signed statement.
There's one thing I really look forward to after a long flight. A good, mild smoke. That's why I prefer the new king-size Fatima. It's milder than any other long cigarette I've tried. Yes, I agree. It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
And so do more and more smokers every day. Actual figures show extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
The king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
The best of all long cigarettes.
Thursday, April 10th. Shortly after noon, the daily newspapers were on the streets, and the head on one of the top front page stories read, "Rookie cop slugs robbed citizen." Ben and I went back to the county jail and told Clark that we'd failed to find the card. He could give us no other lead that might help in clearing the case. During the next 2 days that followed, Ben and I ran down every possible lead, no matter how remote it was. We made a thorough check on Mr. and Mrs. Stacy. We double-checked back on Clark's record. For one full day, we did nothing but phone doctors in and around the city of Los Angeles. From a list of hundreds, we came across 3 doctors who had been present at the fights in Olympic Auditorium on the night Stacy claimed he was beaten up and robbed by Officer Clark. None of the 3 had seen a man tumble down the stairway leading from the balcony to the lobby. None of them had seen any accident or had been called on to help anyone professionally. Monday, April 14th, we met with Lieutenant Ralph Drummond.
No go, huh? That's got us, Ralph. We can't figure it. It's almost a fact Stacy's lying.
Clark, what about him? Well, there's still nothing to show that he didn't do it. He had the opportunity. Maybe he had a motive. He needs money, you know.
Who doesn't?
How much you get on Stacy? He and his wife run a second-hand furniture store in South Flower. It's a small business. Stacy's quite a gambler. He bets on the fights.
Yeah?
We checked around with some of the gang down at the auditorium. Stacy's well-known down there. He laid some pretty heavy bets the night he claims Clark rolled him.
How much?
You got the dope there, Ben. How's it figure out?
He lost over $75 in small amounts. Add to that the fact that he was doing some partying. That might account for the 120 acres missing.
Stacy blew the roll, was afraid to tell his wife, so he cooked up the story against Clark. Yeah, sure. Maybe that could have been the way it happened. What do you got on the other side?
Not much, Ralph. Couldn't dig up anything against Clark. I don't know. He doesn't seem like the type to pull something like that.
Maybe not. You still can't prove he didn't do it. How about the papers? You've been plugging for witnesses? Yeah. Here's the ad. Had it running in personals for 4 days now.
Thanks.
All those saw a man fall down the stairway in the auditorium. Today, please call Michigan 5211-875. No results, huh? No. All the possible doctors in town have been checked out, too. How about the local medical magazines?
Got an ad in there, Ralph. Nothing's happened.
Well, one thing is sure. Something's got to happen. Newspapers are scorching the kid and the department along with him. Victim without a trial makes good reading in the tabloids.
There's one thing I can't understand. If Clark's leveling and there was a doctor at the fights that might have looked at Stacy, then where's the doctor? We've had this thing noised all around town.
Well, give it a little more time, he might turn up. I kind of like the Stacy angle. How do you mean? Well, suppose we get him in here. Think we could break him down into questioning? Oh, no, I doubt that. We can't even get close to him. That wife of his and that lawyer, they're with him all the time. He's afraid to talk to us. Maybe if we pass the word to his wife he'd been gambling, how far can we go on that? Well, she might believe us, she might not. You've seen what she's like. Yeah. I got an idea he sold her on his story, and she's tagging along to get the $128 back.
It gives me an idea, Joe. One thing we might have missed.
Yeah, what's that?
We found out that Stacy did a little partying before we went to the fights at the auditorium that night, didn't we?
Yeah, go ahead.
We checked out a couple of the bars he was drinking at, but we figure he must have partied away at least $50 out of that $128.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't spend that much at the bars.
Oh, well, sure. He probably hid a few other places, too.
That's what I mean. That's still a lot of money to drink up alone.
You figure a woman?
Maybe.
You got any reason to think Stacy plays around?
Just one.
Yeah?
His wife.
Monday, 1 p.m. Ben and I started to canvass of bars and small nightclubs in the general area around the Olympic Auditorium. We started with those where Stacy was a regular customer. We failed to turn up any leads. Either the bartenders refused to tell us or they had no knowledge of Stacy's running around with other women. We kept at it. Another day passed. 2 days. Nothing. One of the newspapers started a campaign against the brutality of police officers. On Thursday, we got a tip from a bartender at a place out on Washington Street, the Brown Cow. He told us that he thought he saw a man answering Stacy's description in his bar a few nights before with a flashy blonde in her late 20s. He said he didn't know Stacy too well, but he knew the girl, and he knew the hotel where she stayed. Her name was Sandra Gay, an acrobatic specialty dancer at the cheap nightclub. We checked out her hotel, but she wasn't in. We left word for her to get in touch with us, and we picked up a hamburger and some potato salad for lunch and checked back in at the office.
How you doing, Coleman?
Not as good as you two.
How do you mean?
Can't you smell a perfume? It's off a blonde named Sandra Gay. She's waiting in the next room. Won't talk to anybody but you.
Thanks. Come on, Ben. Didn't waste much time, did she?
Perfume. Sure strong.
Your name, Sandra Gay?
Yeah, that's right. You the fellas been looking for me?
Drop by your hotel. We'd like to ask you a few questions.
Sure, it's all right.
This is my partner, Sergeant Romero. My name's Friday.
How you doing?
Hello. Romero. Kind of cute for a cop. What can I help you with?
Do you know anybody by the name of Gerald Stacy, Miss Gay?
Gerald, yeah, I hate that name.
Do you know any man who calls himself that?
No. I think that's a terrible name for a man, Gerald.
The man we have in mind is pretty short, stocky build, dark hair, and he wears steel-rimmed glasses.
Yeah, where's he hang out?
Place out in Washington, the Brown Cow. Supposed to have been seen with you. Gerald Stacy.
Oh, yeah, I think I know who you mean. Furniture business. He runs a place near the Brown Cow.
That's right. You know him?
The old Pop. Sure, I know him. We get together once in a while. He's a kick.
Pretty big spender?
Oh, when he's got it, yeah. Last time we went out, he was fine. He can kick it around when he wants to. Oh, Pops.
When's the last time you were out with him, Miss Gay?
Maybe a week, 2 weeks ago. The Tuesday night, I think. Yeah.
Tuesday the 8th? Is that about right?
Yeah, must have been. Why, what's it all about?
Did you spend most of the evening with him?
No, I had to get back to the club, do my act. He went under the fights over at Olympia.
I get it. Personnel, Friday.
Is this Sergeant Friday?
Yes, that's right.
This is Dr. Samuelson talking, Sergeant. I've been out of town. I just got back this morning. I saw the ad in the paper.
Yes, sir?
I was at the fights that night, Sergeant. What else do you want to know?
Would you mind telling us, Doctor, did you see a man fall down one of the stairways to the lobby?
Certainly. I was the one who examined him.
5 p.m. Mr. and Mrs. Stacy were called to Lieutenant Drummond's office. Arrangements were made to have Officer Russell Clark brought over from his cell in county jail. At 5:15, Ben and I checked into the lieutenant's office. Stacy and his wife were already there.
Certainly proud of our police department, Chief. No whitewashing this time. You gave that fella exactly what he had coming.
Thanks. You sure you didn't make a mistake?
I'm sure, Chief. That's the right man. You got him.
Jerry, don't make mistakes on things like this, Inspector. How about our money, the $128? He tell you where he hid it?
No, he hasn't. We'll bring Officer Clark in from county jail. Figure we try to crack him.
That's right. Make him tell what he did with our money.
Joe, will you have Officer Clark brought in?
By the way.
All right.
There he is. Where's our money? What have you done with it?
Just a minute, please. Stacy, you sure Officer Clark here's the man who beat you up and robbed you?
Of course he is. Dragged me behind the auditorium and almost beat me to death. Broke my arm, took all my money.
$128. Where is it?
I haven't got your money.
Joe, bring the doctor in.
I understand.
In here, Doctor.
All right. Mr. Stacy, you're a liar. This officer didn't break your arm. I saw you fall down a flight of stairs at that auditorium and break your own arm. I examined it.
Jerry, who is this man?
What about it, Stacy?
He doesn't know what he's talking about. I never saw him before in my life.
No, but I've seen you, Stacy. You were drunk. I saw you fall down those stairs.
You're crazy.
Joe, send Miss Gay in.
All right.
All right, Miss Gay.
Pure strong perfume.
You recognize any of these people, Miss Gay?
Hello, Pops.
I don't know you.
Don't you remember the perfume you give it to me?
Who is this woman?
Just a friend, honey.
All right, Stacy, now let's have it straight.
It was all a mistake. I don't want to make trouble for anybody. It wasn't this cop's fault. I don't want to make any trouble.
What about this woman?
It was all a mistake, believe me.
You took that money, Gerald. You spent it on her.
Now, wait a minute.
Causing all this trouble, squandering our money. After all I did for you, you're no good. This time I'm through.
All right, Clark, let's go.
Okay.
Well, that's it.
I don't know how to thank you, fellas.
And Doctor's the best friend you got.
Yeah, I better call the wife. She'll want to know.
Friday, phone message for you here.
Oh, thank you. From your wife, Clark.
Yeah?
She found that doctor's card.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On September 2nd, trial was held in Municipal Court, Division 7, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to extra mild Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the king-size cigarette that is extra mild.
Extra mild because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give it a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Gerald Stacy was tried on charges of filing a false crime report. He was convicted under Section 5250 LAMC and served his term as prescribed by law. Officer Russell Clark was returned to duty with full back pay.
Ladies and gentlemen, in response to thousands of letters asking us to broadcast Dragnet at an earlier hour so that the entire family might hear it, we wish to announce that summer scheduling enables us to fulfill these requests. Beginning next Thursday, June 8th, Fatima Cigarettes will bring you Dragnet 1/2 hour earlier over most of these stations. Consult your local newspaper for exact time.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Hear your favorite Jack Birch tomorrow on NBC.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A woman has been shot to death. The apparent motive, robbery. The killer's still at large. Your job, find him.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Friday, March 16th. It was damp in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. It was 11:45 p.m. when we got to where we'd parked our car. 2nd and Main.
Couple of drops on the windshield.
Yeah, I hope it holds off.
I was thinking of going out to see the Cubs and Pirates play an exhibition game tomorrow. Guess maybe now I won't.
You might be lucky.
What's the weatherman say?
Oh, get the radio off. It's a slow night.
Yeah.
Might not be tomorrow night.
What?
March 17th, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
62A, Collier Station. All units in vicinity of 102 South Virgil, 211 and shooting, code 3. All units in vicinity of 102 South Virgil, 211 and shooting, code 3. Unit 13, take the call.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. 11:58 p.m. We arrived at 102 South Virgil, the Bartlett Hotel, a 4-story building. Sergeant Scheimer met us in the lobby and informed us that the shooting took place at 11:40 p.m. in room 432, occupied by Mr. and Mrs. Theodore V. Benham. Mrs. Benham was the victim. We went up to the 4th floor where Officer McCready was stationed outside the room.
Any witnesses?
Only Benham says it was a thief.
You talking to the people on this floor?
None of them saw anything. They're all in their rooms.
Any other way out of here?
That stairway in the rear leads to the roof. I took a look. Nothing up there.
Mm-hmm. Where's Benham?
Across the hall, lying down. Cox is with him.
Okay, let's look at the body. We went into the room, a dreary place with a single light hanging from the center of the ceiling. The carpet was faded and worn in spots. On the north side were a closet and a bathroom. Against the east wall was a dresser. Across the room was a double bed, and at the foot of the bed a window looking out over the roofs of adjoining buildings and the marquee of a movie house down the street. A steamer trunk was in the corner, and a straight-back chair was next to the door. The mirror of the dresser was smashed, and on the dresser a Gideon Bible. On the bed was the body of a woman sprawled face down. There were several splotches of blood on her coat. In the chair was a .32-20 revolver, which McCready said belonged to Benham, the husband of the murdered woman. We asked McCready to put in a call to the crime lab, and we went across the hall to question Benham.
This is an awful shock. I'm not feeling well. I'm under doctor's care. Hemophilia. It's an awful shock.
Sit down, please.
Yes. I don't know what it'll do to me. I should be in a sanitarium right now.
We'll see you're taken care of.
Lincoln Sanitarium in Eagle Rock.
Could you tell us what happened tonight?
Why, yes. My wife and I went out to the Sycamore Cafe over in Alvarado.
What time was that?
Oh, about 9:30. Had a couple of drinks and something to eat. Listened to a piano player, then came home. I unlocked the door, and Elizabeth went in first, went over to the dresser. I just walked over to her when a man stepped out of the closet in back of us. He had a gun.
Mm-hmm. Can you describe him?
I don't know.
Did you see his face?
No. He had a blue bandana over his face, and he had a cap on, a blue and white check.
Did you notice his clothes?
No, I didn't.
Anything else?
He seemed very nervous, and he wasn't holding the gun still. My wife was opening her purse, and I said, well, I haven't got very much, but I'll give you what we have. And he fired and hit Elizabeth. I pulled my gun from my overcoat and started shooting.
Are you in the habit of carrying a gun?
No. I'd noticed suspicious-looking men following me lately, so I bought one.
Is this the gun here?
Yes.
Then what happened?
Well, I fired all the bullets. I Don't know how I missed. The room was small. He kept moving around all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess I did miss. Then he ran out of the room.
But how old would you say this man was?
Officer, I haven't the faintest idea.
Can I see you a minute, Sergeant?
Sure.
We'll be back, Mr. Benham.
This has been an awful shock to me.
Wonder how his wife felt. McCready told us that Sergeant Scheimer had found a woman in the Nevada Hotel next door who might know something. He went next door and questioned Mrs. Caroline Cromwell, a resident of the hotel. She occupied room 415 on the top floor. She told us that about 20 seconds after she heard the shots, she looked out the door of her room and saw a man come down the back stairs, which leads to the roof of the hotel, and enter room 402. She'd seen the man several times and was positive of her identification. Sergeant Scheimer said the man was registered as Jack Morrison, who went to room 402. Try it again.
Who's that?
Police officer.
What do you want?
I'd like to ask a couple of questions.
I was going to bed.
We'd like to talk to you. Won't take very long.
All right. What do you want to know?
How long you been in your room?
About 10 minutes. What?
Where were you?
To the movie.
Which one?
Right down the street. Why are you asking me all these questions?
You been drinking?
Oh, not much.
Mind if we look around a little?
I was out all the time. I didn't know nothing about a shooting.
And you won't mind if we look around?
You won't find nothing here.
These all the clothes you got?
Yeah?
This your coat?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You wearing this tonight, were you?
No.
It's the only coat in the closet. What'd you do with the coat you were wearing?
Guess I was wearing that one.
Did you spill it?
What?
A bottle of whiskey?
It broke.
How?
How do I know?
Got a hole here in the sleeve. What'd you do with the broken bottle?
Threw it away.
Where?
I don't know. On the street.
Joe, I found something. A shirt. Stuck down between the wall and the bathtub. Looks like blood on it. Is this yours? Where's the shirt you wore tonight? Take off your pajama top.
Why?
Take it off.
All right. But I didn't have nothing to do with that shooting next door.
What happened to your arm?
Guy shot at me.
Who?
I don't know. I bought a bottle and had a couple of drinks and went to the movie for a little while.
Would you mind moving away from the bed, please?
No.
Thank you.
I came out of the movie because I was getting dizzy. I went up on the roof here to get some air. While I was standing there, a guy ran across the roof and shot at me.
What'd the man look like?
I don't know. He came from the roof of the hotel next door and ran into this place.
How big was he?
It was dark. I couldn't see.
What'd you do?
Well, after I was sure he was gone, I came down. I was going to have my arm fixed in the morning.
Better get your clothes on.
Why?
Well, you got a pretty bad arm. You better have it fixed up. We'll take you to George Street Receiving Hospital.
It's all right. I don't have to go there.
Find anything, Ben?
No.
You got a clean shirt?
No.
Well, you better wear your pajama top then.
Oh, here's something. What did you say your name is?
Jack Morrison.
Here's a card I found in the closet. It says, Tommy Kane, report for work, Joe's Cafe, 8 o'clock, March 1st.
Who's Tommy Kane?
That's me.
Where you from?
Elgin, Illinois.
How old are you?
I'm 22.
Why'd you leave Elgin?
No work. I've been bumming around.
You ever been arrested?
I was picked up on a vague charge a month ago.
Here?
Yeah. I don't know why you guys are bothering with me.
When somebody gets shot, we bother. 1:30 a.m. We took King to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital, where they found that a muscle in his upper right arm had been severed and the right side of his chest was bruised. Before taking him to Ward 1300 General Hospital for further treatment, we took him back to the roof of the Nevada Hotel.
Still trying to rain.
Yeah. Well, where were you standing when you got shot at, King?
Right over there. I was leaning against the bricks.
Where'd the man come from?
Out of that door in the other roof.
Roof of the Bartlett Hotel?
Yeah.
Was he running when he shot at you?
Yeah, he was.
Where'd he run?
right across here where we are. And then he went through this door here into the Nevada Hotel.
Did you notice anything unusual about him?
Well, his face was covered with a handkerchief, and he wore a checkered cap.
Thought you said before it was too dark.
Well, I could see that. I mean, you know, I could see that. I couldn't see his face.
And you were standing over there by the parapet?
Yeah.
About here?
Yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's get over the roof of the Bartlett. A little high. Can I help you over?
No.
Come on, Ben. You ever been in this hotel before, Kane?
No.
Everything all right, McCready?
Yeah. Crime lab's here, checking the murder room.
Benham awake?
I think so.
Mr. Benham?
Yes?
Mind if we come in?
Of course not.
You ever seen this man before?
Let me see. Can you stand over there in the light? My eyes aren't as good as they used to be.
Okay. Move over there.
How's that?
That's better.
This the man who shot your wife?
No, that's not the man.
We left instructions for another car to take Theodore Benham to the Lincoln Sanitarium in Eagle Rock. We took Kane to Ward 1300 General Hospital. 2:42 a.m. We arrived back at the Bartlett Hotel where police chemist Ray Pinker had finished his examination. 3 slugs, .38 caliber, and 5 slugs, .32-20, were found in the mattress and the walls, all on the same side of the room. On the floor of the room were found a piece of white cloth and some brown threads. Ray Pinker returned to the crime lab while Ben and I made a search of both hotels, the incinerators, the alley, and all likely places for the missing .38. It was not found. 3:48 a.m. Ben went to the record bureau to check on any possible criminal record Kane might have had. I went to the crime lab to see what Ray Pinker had found.
Nothing on this one. It's been a clean miss. And nothing on these 4 .32-20s.
Mm-hmm. Where'd you find those?
Dug the .38 out of the window frame. 32-20s are in the south and east walls.
How about the others here?
Well, on these 2 .38 slugs, I found minute portions of threads. They compare with the dress and coat worn of the deceased.
Mm-hmm.
Hi.
Hey, Ben.
I checked Kane's record. He told the truth.
Nothing more than a vague charge, huh?
No. How's this come?
There's threads on 2 of the .38 slugs.
And on one of the 32-20s.
Same kind of threads?
Yeah, the same kind.
32-20, that's the gun Benham used.
Yeah.
Did you check the cloth yet?
I will right now.
Benham must have been shooting an awful while.
Where'd you find that 32-20 slug, Ray?
On the floor near the bed.
Nothing on any of the other 32-20s.
No. Yeah, this piece of cloth matches the shirt.
How about the coat and those threads?
Got only a couple of threads that might match. Let me have a coat.
Here you are. We better have Benham take another look at Kane, huh?
Yeah, I guess so. I could use a cup of coffee. How about you?
As soon as we get finished. How about it, Ray?
You've got to make it. All right. Yeah, a match.
Well, that's it, huh?
Oh, one more thing.
Yeah.
Fresh stains on the carpet of that room.
What kind?
Whiskey.
March 18th, we picked up Benham at Lincoln Sanitarium and drove him to the General Hospital. 3 times he asked us to stop someplace so he could have a drink. We told him he'd have to wait. We arrived at Ward 1300 at 1:40 p.m., and Kane was brought out.
Take a good look, Mr. Benham.
No, that isn't the man. I'm sure of it.
All right, Kane, tie this handkerchief over your face. No, this way. That's right. Now put on this cap. Okay, now stand over there, please. Now, a little further. That's good. All right, Mr. Benham?
You know, his eyes and forehead look a little familiar, but I don't know. Well, my nerves are all shot. I can't be positive. I'm a sick man.
All right, Kane.
Wish I could help you, boys.
So do we.
Come along, please.
You don't have to take me back to the sanitarium. Just take me to a streetcar. I'll make it all right.
We'll take you.
All right, Jim.
Yeah.
Can I see you a minute?
Sure. Yeah?
Did you notice anything when you first brought Kane out of the ward?
No.
You must have been closing the door.
Yeah, I was.
And that man, Benham, he winked at him.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of Dick Hyland, sports columnist for one of the great Los Angeles newspapers. This is his actual signed statement.
Do I smoke a lot when I'm reporting a close ball game? You bet I do. Do I still enjoy smoking when the game's over? Right again. Because I smoke a mild cigarette, Fatima. No other king-size cigarette tastes so good, is as mild as Fatima. I agree it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
And so do more and more smokers every day. Actual figures show extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
The king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
The best of all long cigarettes.
We took Benham back to his sanitarium. On the way, he asked if he could be excused from testifying at the inquest and preliminary hearing. We told him it couldn't be done. 7 p.m., Ben and I returned to the general hospital and took Kane into a small room adjoining the prison ward. After 3 hours of interrogation, he stuck to his story.
Cigarette, Kane?
Thanks.
How's the arm?
All right. Hurts a little now. When you guys going home?
When we get a straight story.
I've been telling you all I know.
Yeah, you've been telling us the same story for 2 days, but it doesn't hold water.
What do you mean?
How do you account for the fact that parts of your clothing were found in that room?
I told you before, you must have made a mistake.
No, it's no mistake.
Mr. Benham's starting to think he recognizes you.
What?
Why'd he wink at you?
He didn't wink at me.
We got somebody here who saw him.
And he seems to think whoever did the shooting didn't take the gun with him.
When we drove him back to the sanitarium, he asked us if we found it yet.
He thinks we will.
How long has Benham lived in L.A.?
A long time.
How long?
Why do you want to know how long he's lived here?
Is the dead woman really his wife?
Well, certainly she's his wife.
Why?
Where's he been since the shooting?
In the sanitarium in Eagle Rock.
What's the matter with him?
Hemophilia.
You know what that is?
No. You sure that was his wife?
Positive.
She wasn't a stool pigeon?
Stool pigeon? Where'd you get that idea?
You guys never saw her before?
Never.
You never heard of her?
Kane, what's eating you?
Did you check on her?
We always do.
You don't make mistakes on anything like that, do you?
Not off.
Look, she was a pretty nice woman from all we could find out.
Happily married for 30 years.
Something's wrong.
What, Kane? What's wrong?
Hold that up.
Yeah?
Yeah. What'd Benham say about me?
We told you. He says you look a little bit like the man.
Did you say anything else?
He winked at you, Kane. Why?
She wasn't a bad-looking woman.
Wasn't she, Kane? All right, now how about it?
You guys swear that was his wife?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you where the 38 is.
Where?
The mattress on the roof of the Nevada Hotel. Benham cut a hole in it that day. He told me to hide the gun there after the shooting.
All right, let's have a look.
I don't want anybody to know I'm telling you this.
Why?
Benham's a real smart guy. He's got a gang. He's in on it as much as I am.
Yeah?
He double-crossed me. He tried to kill me. I'm going to jail. He's going with me.
Maybe he will. Kane told us that he had known Benham for about 2 months. During that time, Benham helped him along by giving him a couple of dollars every once in a while. On March 11th, Benham got Kane a room in the Nevada Hotel and gave him $20 to buy a gun, which Kane did. On March 15th, he gave Kane a blue bandana and a checkered cap. On March 16th, he told Kane that he'd been sent by a gang in Chicago to kill a woman who was a stool pigeon. He promised Kane $100 for his help. Early that evening, Benham told Kane how to enter their room and where to hide. When they came home, Benham stood by the door. Kane stepped out of the closet and, after a few words, shot the woman. As he moved toward the bed, Benham started shooting at him. Kane ran from the room and hid the gun in the mattress on the roof, then went to his room and flushed the cap and bandana down the drain. 11:15 p.m. Ben and I found the gun where Kane said it would be. 38 Special Detective Colt revolver, 2-inch barrel, number 381327. 11:52 p.m. We checked and found no evidence that Benham belonged to any kind of a gang. March 19th, 9 a.m. Ben and I reported in the homicide and picked up Captain Steed. We went over to Dr. Wagner to learn his autopsy report. It showed that the deceased had been shot 3 times. 2 .38 slugs and 1 .32-20 were recovered from the victim's body. They were initialed for evidence. 8 p.m. Captain Steed, Ben, and I went to the sanitarium and told Benham that there were a few angles we wanted to clear up before the inquest next morning. Benham got dressed, and we drove back to the Bartlett Hotel. It was raining.
I'm still trying to remember what happened. I was very shocked that night.
Yeah, I suppose you were.
Well, sometimes my memory comes back for a little bit.
The red light? Yeah, I see.
You know, the man who did the shooting knew you lived in room 432, and he knew you'd be gone that night. How do you suppose he figured that out?
Well, I've been noticing that a lot of men have been following me. Suspicious-looking men. I told that to Sergeant Friday, didn't I, Sergeant?
Yeah, that's right.
Must be one of them.
You ever give money to characters on the street so much they might follow you?
Hey, that must be it. Many times I used to do that. I'd be nice to them, and they'd try to make friends.
Do you remember any of them?
Yeah, I do. There was old man Dorsey, Jolly Swanson, and a fellow named Lane.
Kane?
Yeah, that's it, Kane. There you are. The young man you took me to see in the hospital. I'm thinking, I believe that's Kane.
Are you sure?
Quite sure. He's the burglar.
What makes you think he was a burglar?
Well, what else would he be?
He didn't rifle any of the drawers or steal anything, did he?
Must have got there just before us.
Did you have anything important there?
Yes, some insurance policies.
And your wife?
Yeah.
How much?
Well, one policy for $4,000 and 2 for $2,500 each.
Who's the beneficiary?
I am.
We took Benham up to room 432, where he got out the insurance policies on his wife and showed them to us. Then Captain Steed asked him to reenact the shooting. Benham acted as the killer, I played Benham, and Ben acted as his wife.
Well, the man was over here in the closet. My wife and I came in that door, and then my wife went over to the dresser.
Oh, over here? Did you turn on the light?
Oh, yeah, and then I closed the door and went over behind her.
Like this?
She was closer to the bed.
Here?
Yeah.
Were you standing next to her?
Yeah.
You start to take off your coat?
Well, I was just going to when this man stepped out of this closet here.
How far?
Oh, here. Yeah, right here.
And then what?
Well, he held the gun in his hand and asked how much money we had. Elizabeth said we didn't have much.
From here?
Yeah, but she turned around.
Like this?
Yeah, that's it.
What happened then?
Well, then I said I haven't got very much, but I'll give you what we have, and started shooting.
Yeah, but you said before that your wife started looking in her purse.
Yeah, that's it. She did. I forgot. And that made him think she was going after a gun.
How do you know?
Well, I suppose that's what he thought. He shot, and Elizabeth fell on the bed. I pulled out my gun and started shooting, and the man ran out the door, and that's all.
That's exactly what happened, huh?
Just as I remember it. Will it help you?
Not very much.
What's the matter?
Well, if you were standing where I am, there'd be bullet holes on that side of the room there, wouldn't it?
They're all on this side.
I see. I got it. Come with me.
Where are you going?
On the roof.
What for?
I want to show you something. It's raining. There are 2 umbrellas in the closet. I'll get them.
Why do you want to go up there?
I think I know where that gun might be hidden. I'll bet it's there. Here, you take this umbrella.
Thanks.
We'll take this one, Captain.
Let's go.
I'll bet it's up there. We'll find it.
You got your flashlight, Ben?
Yeah.
Should be around here somewhere.
What?
The mattress. My wife used to take sunbaths on it.
Where would it be?
Well, just about here.
I don't see any. You sure it's up here?
I bet it's on the next roof. Didn't you say Kane lived in that hotel? He probably moved it. Hey, flash your light over there behind that elevator shaft.
There?
Yeah, there. You see it? We have to climb over this parapet to get on the other roof.
Watch it, Cap. It's pretty slippery.
Okay. Yeah, it is slippery.
This mattress here?
That's it.
Take a look, Joe. Right. No, nothing here.
Did you look all around there? Did you look in the corners?
No.
Well, that'd be a good place to hide a gun, don't you think? Here, let me see. There might be a hole cut in one of them. Oh, maybe the other corner. No. Or maybe this one. Yeah, you see, the mattress has been cut. No, it's got to be here. Where is it? It's here, I tell you. It's here. I know it's here. I'll find it. You wait. You'll see. I'll get it. I know it's here. I'll find it. You wait, I'll get it. I'll get it.
It's getting wet, Joe.
We got the 38 Kane told us about it. You ready to talk?
Yeah.
Insurance. That why you did it?
Yeah. I'm a sick man.
Let's go, Benham. On your feet.
All right.
They played that ball game the other day.
Yeah? Who won?
Pirates 8-7. Sure do like baseball.
Must be a real nice business.
Yeah.
Fans only yell if they never do it.
What's that?
Kill the umpire.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On July 2nd, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 89, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to extra mild Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the king-size cigarette that is extra mild.
Extra mild because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give it a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Thomas Kane was convicted of second-degree murder and received a term as prescribed by law. Theodore V. Benham was convicted of first-degree murder and assault with a deadly weapon. He received a life sentence and died in prison 1 year later. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.